Oh ho ho. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to our Idea Studio, where we look at life in Bangkok through the lens of design. I'm Dana. I am without Jib today, however. Jib, you guys might remember the video, her granny passed away. We made a video of the cremation ceremony. And today is 50 days from that day, and so her family is making merit today. And I was going to go, looks like I'm way too hot. All right, there we go. Better. So it looks like, so anyway, her family's making merit today, and one of us had to stay back to make sure that we had some packages coming today that they got collected. So that task falls on me, and so we still get a live stream. Let me run through the chat. I see a bunch of people here. I just want to say hi. Of course, your Mojo up in here since 4 days ago, leaving comments in the chat. Joe, what's up? Richard Jew, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, hey. BMP Chris, what's going on? Let's see what else we got. Oh, your wife's going to Sandbox in 2 weeks. I know and my buddy Chris is down there right now. Or I think he might be in Sumet by now, actually. But he had a great time in Phuket. Is Auntie giving me the finger? No. 2X live streams. Who else is live in today? Hey, Deborah, what's going on? Hey, Steve. Hey, man, I'm glad you're enjoying the BTS series. Yeah, we're enjoying making them. They're monster filming days and monster edits, right? So a lot of planning obviously goes into before the filming of the BTS series. And so we research the area, plan, look for things, and then obviously go out. Probably spend about 12 hours out filming on the days that we go out. Going around, shooting all the different stuff. Recording in different areas and trying to time it so that we're in the right place at the right time. And the last one, we filmed episode 4 last week, or this week. And last week we filmed episode 4, and it was absolutely brutal. It was super sunny all day, just sweating nonstop. It was pretty wild, but got it done. And actually, it was probably one of the better videos we made as far as what was going on, what we were doing, what we saw, and the amount of area we covered. We even went to an island out in the Chao Phraya, so a lot of cool stuff. That's 2 episodes from now. I'm editing episode 3 now. I've got that in the queue, and I'm laying the timeline out. And with episode 4, we started to record some more some more stuff, some different style footage while we're out, just to try to give it more of a personal feel instead of just voiceovering the whole thing. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, the thumbs up. Eric, thank you, man. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I saw some new comments this morning. I didn't get to them yet, so I'll pop over to the video after the live. Oh, congratulations for your daughter getting married. Oh, that damn Mike's live streaming on my Wednesdays, that bastard. That's what, is he at a beach? Mike hasn't live streamed in a bit, so he's probably live streaming from a beach. Joe, thank you so much for the coffee, my friend. Appreciate the support. That helps the channel out tremendously. All you guys who buy us coffee, that helps us out so much. To be able to go out, make these videos, offsets a lot of the costs that these videos do incur, especially the BTS series. However, if you guys have noticed, though, the cheapest thing right now, while we're doing the extension down south, is that it only costs 15 baht to get there, 15 baht to get back. So it's all the other ancillary stuff that we have going on those days that all that support really helps. So thank you, Joe. You've been a supporter since the beginning of the channel, man. I really appreciate it. Yep, on a beach. How'd I know? You can't blame the guy. I think it's like he's on a beach somewhere. He feels the urge to turn the camera on. He's just got to go. And Mike can talk, so let him do his thing. I knew he was going to be on a beach somewhere, though, for sure. If he's doing a stream, probably doesn't know what day it is. He's probably got like 5 coffees in him, or what he calls coffee, was just a 3-in-1 mix. And then he's probably like all hyped up on mango smoothies. I know how he does it. But yeah, so the episode 4 that we filmed was fantastic. So much new stuff, so much interesting stuff going on. And then on top of that, the episode 3, which we're editing now, I really liked as well. It's probably the most different so far. When I look at the 4 that we filmed, the 2 that we released, 3 is an incredibly different experience because of the area. You guys will see urbanization, for whatever reason, has hit this area much quicker than other spots on the train, on the route. So episode 3 will be a unique viewing, so to speak. But it's also the last episode where that klong splits the neighborhood in half. It diverts off, and you'll see some of the klong in episode 4 as well, but in a different location, which it's interesting how it impacts the neighborhood. In 4, when 4 comes out, you'll see that a lot of that area in episode 4 is more rural than actually episode 1 through 3. So it's pretty wild. And then there's actually like a little downtown that we get to in Samut Prakan before we jump on the ferry in episode 4. So it's really the texture of these areas and the way that they're sort of segmented and developed is really surprising to us from an urbanism standpoint, that you would have thought there'd be these massive rush for development as soon as the train hits. And you sort of see, I think we'll see that more when we get to the northern extensions, where, there's this big rush to build condos up north, like just south of Pathum Thani in Bangkok, and people are buying cheaper condos up that way. And obviously, when we get to like the Lat Phrao area, Lat Phrao is one of these. Lat Phrao is a neighborhood that's sort of been developed specifically, like in the last 2 decades, and was built up really quick and sort of super hipster and became overcrowded, and sort of known for that particular aspect, that the traffic's horrible. A lot of people live there. It's very high density. But there's also a lot more livable elements about Lat Phrao, like huge walkable sidewalks, a lot of small shops, things like that make it quite nice. My buddy David has a restaurant there. I was at just the other day meeting up with David and my friend Bear. And, one of the things that, I appreciate about that area is like how easy it is to walk around, all the little shop spaces all around. So that's really quite nice and feels almost a bit more modern, if it wasn't for the incessant car traffic that they have. So real quick, guys, we usually start out talking about like the current situation, that we're still in a pseudo lockdown. A lot of things have been reopened. We still have a curfew, which is 10 p.m. now in Bangkok. But today is the 3rd day in a row that we have less than 10,000 new COVID cases confirmed. So I believe, I want to just confirm that it's 3rd day real quick, but I believe my notes here say 3rd day. Yeah, 3rd day in a row that we are under 10,000 new cases, and that is probably the longest stretch we've had that is for sure the longest stretch we've had in months below 10K. So 9,866, which is great news, especially for anyone looking or hoping that Bangkok is going to open up by the end of the year. It's very likely that's going to happen if these numbers continue to fall. I think that the government will have a hard time to make a case against it. If the numbers continue to fall and our vaccination numbers continue to climb. However, right now our death rate's still around 100 a day, which is not fantastic. So I would like to see that drop more than the cases confirmed. I mean, if our vaccination numbers continue to go up and continue to climb at the current rate, and we can get the deaths to drop, that would be ideal. Love the last two. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, we love making them. We have another one. So right now, like I said, I'm working on the edit for number 3. I've also got to finish editing a video we shot months ago right before lockdown of a craft shop called Hong Sang that we visited. It's actually in Nonthaburi. But it's just a really cool shop that we went to visit. We made a fun video about it. So I've got to finish that edit, and I'm going to try to get that out over the weekend. And then next week, we've also got a video about the mangrove restoration areas in Sumetrakan on the Gulf, where, part of the sea level rise is a real threat to Thailand. Some of you guys might know that different parts of the sea actually rise at different rates, and there's a number of geological factors to that, gravity wells, things like that cause this to happen. Minuscule, but still different rates. And the Gulf is actually one of the areas that's raising more above average for the rest of the sea level. So sea level rise is a severe threat to a city like Bangkok, where a lot of it sits below sea level or at sea level. So Sumetrakan is sort of the front line of this fight. And there's all this coastline that the mangroves were destroyed on. So they're trying to regrow the mangroves on a lot of this coastline so that it'll help fight sea level rise, help fight erosion, and it looks really good. The coastline looks fantastic as far as, the mangroves are really taking well. They're growing in super thick, and they're doing it in sections. So we actually visited some of the sections, and there's actually a mangrove preserve that we're able to visit, and inside that mangrove preserve, it'd been closed down for a while, but the locals showed us how to get in, and they go in there and run and stuff because it's just completely closed off. And one of the things that you'll see in there is that it's really holding well, and they've done a lot of things to prevent. Erosion in there, but one of the big issues you see is a lot of trash collects inside there, so that was problematic. It all looked nice, the BTS. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, love the temple. Yeah, the temples are gorgeous, man. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, Europe's got its churches, right? But Thailand has these incredible temples that are, some of them are just massive. Like the one from the one that we highlighted in the last video was absolutely enormous. And then you'll see one in episode 4 that is also enormous and has this massive collection of Buddhist statues. So different characters from the Kon, different Buddhas, all these different things going on in the temple is pretty wild. One of the things that Jib is deathly afraid of dogs. In the last episode, while we're out filming, we ran into more packs of dogs that were very aggressive than Jib would have liked. At one point, she had her expandable baton out and ready to go as one of the dogs was kind of approaching us. For the most part, I just stay between Jib and the dogs. Oh, thank you for the coffee. I imagine that's Chris. It says someone. That's usually you, my friend. Thank you so much. Guys, again, those coffees, that really helps the channel. It helps us as far as like offset some of the cost of filming and the things that we go out and do. And so much appreciate. It's a great way to support the channel and the videos that we're making. But yeah, so Jib's deathly afraid of dogs. And so she has the baton. She was using that to try to keep them at bay. But I got her some dog whistles, and I ordered some dog spray for her just in case. We'll see, just to try to make her feel more comfortable. We've never actually really had an issue. For the most part, like the dogs they're aggressive, but they don't attack for the most part. However, I have seen in Thailand, one time I was up in Ubon Ratchathani, I've seen a dog attack someone. And that wasn't pretty. And I had another time in Patsum Thani where there was a very, very aggressive dog that I felt was going to attack me at the place that we live. So it can happen. I'm aware of that. I don't think that. And 90% of the dogs, like if you saw the pack of dogs in the last video at the temple, those are the most chill dogs. There's like 10 of them, right? They could have easily run us over. But they were just like, yeah, hey, what's going on? Like, you know, your typical like soy dog is just used to seeing people. So when it was like, hey, you know, we're just soy dogs doing what we do. How you doing? What's going on? You know, that's that's the common dog. But when you run into more aggressive packs, it can be a little scary. No, this is a good question, Deborah. No, for the most part, there is, right, but they're mostly dealing with reptiles. And keep in mind, Deborah, that Thailand is a Buddhist country, right? So they don't want to kill animals. They don't want to do like they don't want to take in animals and have to destroy them. That would be, and you know, the 80%, 90% of Thailand, probably more than 90% of Thailand are Buddhists. So they really want to avoid that outcome. But even with snakes or things like that, they when you have to call animal control to come get the snakes, they get them and they let them go. Which, you know, of course, like I don't want to kill dogs either, but you know, that's how America and European countries control that population. You know, that and aggressive neutering and spading policies as well in the West prevent this from happening. Now, there are groups like my buddy Rob was involved on, I believe, Koh Samui with animal rescue, that what they did was they would go get stray dogs, like soy dogs or beach dogs, and spade and neuter them and then let them back out onto the beach after they recovered. So they were working to control the population that way. And I do know that there are efforts through similar groups in Bangkok to do those types of things that will sort of curve the population naturally over time. But it's an uphill battle. There's so many of them, and they breed so frequently. If you guys saw in the video where we're up on the roof of the shrine, there was actually at one point when we were walking through in one of the empty elevator shafts, there was like 6 baby pups. So, you know, you can't get them all, and it takes time. And maybe eventually that spade neuter program will get to the point where it's outpacing the growth and they start to make a dent, but they're not there yet, at least not in Bangkok. Let's see, get a brick on a rope, it works. Hey, Deborah, Joe. And coffee always nukes my details, have to speak to management. Yeah, thank you again, Chris. Appreciate the coffees, guys. Those really do, it helps a lot. We have no kill shelters, but yes, heavily getting animals fixed. Yeah, there are no kill shelters, but those are the minority, Deborah, for sure. And again, the only way to get this population, if you want to get the soy dog population under control in, like, say, a decade or a 5-year period, no kill would not be an option. So, you know, it's a very long battle with the aggressive neutering and spading. Animal control, just holler at the dog, maybe have a stick handy. When it's one dog, 2 dogs, that's not an issue. It's when there's like a pack of 10 or 15 dogs hike that becomes really an issue. And you can, especially in some of these more outlier locations on the train that we're visiting, run into packs of 10 or 15 dogs. Like the one in the temple was like 10 dogs, and there were probably another 20 dogs hanging out around the temple as well. None of them were aggressive because they're just so used to people all day. But it's the dogs you run into. Like, we were on a walkway over a klong at one point, and like 8 dogs rolled up on us. And, you know, we had nowhere to go. It was forward or back, and we had to get the dogs to back down so that we could move out. And that was the only option. So, you know, and we were like literally half a kilometer into this walkway. It was like a 2-kilometer walkway. So there was really no option there. Or jump into some dirty ass klong water that we saw some very big monitor lizards in. So yeah, not always an option. Not always an option. But yeah, the dog population is an issue all over Thailand. And occasionally there are rabies outbreaks, which is pretty scary. One benefit of Jib not being here, I just made the same size coffee and poured it all in my jar. So I've got like 800 milliliters of coffee today. What's it say on the side here? Just over 800. I don't know if you guys can make this out. So I'm just over 800 mil of coffee. Oh, 600. Just over 600, not 800. That was probably about 7 700 milliliters. Or is there freedom measurements on the other side? Yeah, there are. So 2.5 cups, freedom measurements, freedom units. It's equivalent to 1.5 Big Macs. 6 pints of eagle blood. I don't know. But yeah, animal. Keep in mind, like I said, Sumeprakan's much. It's not Bangkok, so it'd be like I can't think. So So if any of you are familiar with Boston, it'd be more like Somerville than Boston, or Watertown than Boston, and even more rural than that, even though it's just one town away. It's like, as soon as you cross that border, there's a very hard line between the lifestyle in Bangkok and Sumeprakan. It's quite interesting, at least where we're at now. Thank you, Hike. Yeah, we've been really enjoying making them. I was just talking about, like, it takes... Yeah, it's a long day of filming. Like I said, it's about 12 hours. And like the last one we did, episode 4, that we filmed, was a really hard day of filming because it was super sunny, super hot. Actually, I sweat so much that some of the graphics start to come off of my Dang Prep Prick shirt. That's how much I was sweating. So it was an incredibly hot day, but it was so fun to be out there, film it, and catch everything that we did. We came across a really cool cafe that we hung out at, and it was right on Sukhumvit, super tiny. We visited an island and a military base, so there was a lot of cool stuff going on at that one station. And like I was talking earlier, we have the mangrove video that will come out soon. I'm doing a bit more research on the mangrove restoration project. I want to be able to include that in the voiceover when we put it together. We actually had a hard time filming even the intro because we thought we'd film it down at one of the lookout points. It was just way too windy, and even with the muffs on the camera, it was picking up quite a bit of wind. Who let the dogs? Not Jib. Actually, I just watched. I forget who had the video about that song, "Who Let the Dogs Out," but there was like a video about it being like one of the top songs in the world from that group, the Baha Men. And that they had been like sort of like a carnival like type of like bohemian like band, and then this song just went worldwide for them. It was kind of cool. It's going like 4x platinum or something like that. 3-pot for me today. 3-pot what? Freedom measurements. Oh, 3 pots of coffee. I feel the urge for some freedom fries now. As long as they're good freedom fries. Where can you get them that late in Bama? But yeah, I always like. It's funny because in the U.S., really the only country other than Burma that uses imperial for standard measurements. And once you learn metric, like I used metric as an undergrad and a grad student because if you study engineering or science, everything's in metric. And it makes so much more sense. And once you start thinking in metric, it changes the way that you perceive a lot of things. It's funny now because I've used it for almost a decade, like exclusively in my day-to-day life. And you can't, like, I have a hard time now visualizing inches, miles, pounds, things like that. My mind is completely tweaked to, millimeters, centimeters, kilograms, kilometers, and that system just makes so much more sense. Even degrees Celsius. Now I have a hard time thinking about temperature in degrees Fahrenheit because I'm so used to degrees Celsius now. Joe say yes to pot, Joe. Maybe Alabama says no. I don't know, but I think the majority of the states are starting to say yes to it. Just don't get your edibles from Eric from Minority Nomad. He'll tell you it's 5 milligrams, and next thing you know, you're like thinking you're dying in your living room. Coffee and pot go good together. I had pot tea once. It was not a pleasant experience. Definitely needs to be mixed with some other flavorings. 30 cups of coffee and a little bit more of a quarter-ounce smoke today. Wow. You're really hitting both of the substances quite. 30 cups. Damn. 30 cups. That's a lot of coffee, Joe. That is a lot of coffee. Even after I drink coffee in the morning, unless we're out at a cafe, I'm pretty much done for the day. That is quite a bit. Quite a bit. Let me get some water in here. Yeah, I'm actually, one of the things that caffeine poisoning, what a way. If you got to go anyway, Steve, I mean, that's how I would pick it. Absolutely. I can drive across border to Rockville, Illinois, but Wisconsin's still. I'm surprised Wisconsin's illegal, to be honest. I mean, I would have thought if any state was open to it in the Midwest, Wisconsin would have been the one. So I'm a bit shocked. By that, indeed. Wisconsin's a fun state, though. Not a whole lot I like about the Midwest as far as like when I lived there. Like that northern chunk of the Midwest, like Ohio, Michigan. Like that really wasn't for me, but like grad school in Wisconsin and like Madison, Milwaukee as cities all were much more livable experiences to me than Cleveland or like anywhere else I visited in the Midwest. Hey, Dominic, man, what's going on? Long time no see. You still doing your podcast, man? Half a pot of coffee and one pipe to go. Patty Doyle. In pie. Pie is a very, we were talking about the sticky icky earlier. Pie is a very sticky icky type of place. They enjoy that substance up there. Cold up there, Patty? I imagine it's going to be usually pie and like naan, like those areas, usually pretty chilly, like early morning or early evening up in those areas, especially if you're at elevation. I'm south end of Illinois, don't get to Wisconsin. Yeah, I forget how big those. So, guys, you got to keep in mind, guys, I grew up in Rhode Island, which you can drive across in 45 minutes. So, when I think about states, I always think about it in my local perspective. Like New England, like the 5 states that I grew up around are like, smaller than Ohio, smaller than Illinois, smaller than Wisconsin. Like I could drive from Rhode Island, where I live, to like Maine or Connecticut, like hour. Actually, you could be, if you took the quickest route, you could go Rhode Island to Maine in like 2.5 hours. Everyone has dreads in pie. Yeah, a lot of them do. You do see a lot of dreads. I would imagine that once a lot of the tourists start to come back for that part of the country, you'll see a lot more seashell necklaces as well. Not too much work to keep podcasting going. I got two young children. Have been investing my nothing wrong with that, Dominic. Nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, I got a few podcasts going on. I got a little studio up at the house here, so I pop up and do some every now and then. I love pie and pie. Everyone loves pie, Joe. Come on, man. Hey, have a good one, Deborah. Thanks for swinging by. Triple tasking now. Lunchtime. Lunchtime? Oh, I guess for you. Damn. Hey, Patty, is Dreamy still alive, or did you have to take her out behind the shed and put a bullet in her? I hope not. I hope you kept her alive. No CT 125 for you, my friend. Not till after the trip. Dreamy's like almost a new bike. Just needs some new body panels now. Be ashamed to kill her off. Yeah, but I mean, I'm actually shocked. All those mountains that she's making them up. Some of those are tough climbs, even with a bigger bike, to get up some of those mountains. And like, I saw you ran out of fuel, but like, you're going up a mountain, right? The fuel gauge on the Honda scooters is, accurate to a half a tank. So, like you have no idea how much fuel you have, right? You don't know how quick you're burning it because you're climbing, you're in elevation. Definitely not the best situation. But friggin' lucky Patty, someone had random fuel just hanging out at their house. What's your favorite type of pie? Oh, that's a good question. That's a damn good question. Strawberry rhubarb, I would say, though, probably my favorite. At least the pie I have the most fond memories of is strawberry rhubarb. That nice bitter flavor, but cut with the sweetness of strawberries. Not something you get here too often. Coffee and pot, then pie. Coffee and pot, then pie. Okay. You gotta... get the caffeine, build up the munchies, and then get yourself a slice. Or are we not talking about pie anymore, Joe? I don't know. Or not that type of pie. See, the show just devolves when Jib's not here. So, one of the things I'm looking forward to on the BTS series, guys, is, when we... Whoa, hey, Joe. Let's not go spreading rumors. Let's not spread rumors. I'm not eating that durian pie. That's for damn sure. Any pie that smells like durian, avoid. In all senses. Well, one of the things that I'm looking forward to on the BTS series is when we get into the more central section of Bangkok that are more well known. Simply because I know it's going to be more of a challenge to do unique content there. Like everyone... I've done a video on Nana before, right? Everyone knows Nana. Everyone knows, the things there. And the challenge with these is now to find things that maybe people don't know about in Nana or don't know about in Asok. So, those are going to be the fun ones. There's Siam, right? Siam feels so dense but so shallow almost. Like there's not a ton of depth there to the city, or to that part of the city, other than these massive shopping malls, these opulent, shopping malls that are just over the top. And of course, you'd be remiss if you didn't talk about them because they are the focal point. But it's now the challenge to find things that people don't know about those central areas and tell that part of the story in film. And in a 20-minute video or 15-minute video. So like getting that together and figuring those out, doing the research on those stations that I'm really excited for, because that's a different type of challenge. With these stations on the extension, the southern extension, Jib and I are learning about them as we're showing you guys, because we're doing the research, we're finding all the stuff, and we're putting it out there, and it's super fun, and I love doing it. And it's great to kind of experience these neighborhoods and really get in there and spend 12 hours trekking around looking at stuff. So that's cool. But when you get to Siam and it's like, okay, now how do you tell a story to people about Siam that they don't know, or show them something in Siam that they don't know? That's the challenge, and that's going to be a lot of fun. What's Nana? Oh, it's just a neighborhood, Joe. Just a neighborhood. Actually, I've got something coming up in November that I'm going to film. I don't want to talk. I'm not going to give away too many details just yet, but it's going to be again focused on Bangkok, on the city, about design, about Sukhumvit specifically, but quite a departure from the usual medium. So I think you guys will enjoy it, and hopefully it will lead to some more stuff like that. So as we get closer, I'll post some photos and some tips, some teasers in the community tab to give you guys an idea. But yeah, that's one of the things that I think will be fun going forward. What do we got here, Hike? Any stores that sell old records or comic books? I don't think I've seen that before. Not that I know of in Siam, but we may find that when we get there. In Bangkok, though, there are, in Fortune Town, which is actually known as like a tech mall. It's sort of like the replacement to Pantip, which is now more of a lifestyle mall. If you remember, Pantip back in the day used to be like the black market for technology. But if you go to Fortune Town, there's a number of old vinyl shops there, like 3 or 4 of them in the mall, that have very, very big collections. Old comic books I've not seen, but I haven't bought a comic book in years. So I'll have to, actually, I'll have to look into that, Hike, because that's a good suggestion, the comic books and the vinyl. But people are, I would say the past 6 or 7 years, I've really seen people start to collect a lot more vinyl in Thailand. It's become quite popular. And there's actually, in that same mall, Fortune Town, there's a few, and in Siam as well, there's a few shops that just sell incredibly high-end, like $5,000-$10,000 turntables for people who are big vinyl aficionados, if you will. Hey, what's up, Wanderers in Alaska? How you doing? No Jib today, unfortunately. She's so if you guys are coming late, you don't know, you didn't hear. Jib is making merit today. It's 50 days past her grandmother's passing, so. If you remember, we made the video about her grandmother's cremation ceremony. And so she is making merit, and I'm here to collect packages and whatnot. That's my job today. Oh, damn. Maurice, what's up, brother? Thank you for the super chat, my friend. How are things out in... are you still in Columbus, my man? How's life out there? Hope things are good. Dude, we got to catch up soon. Let's hit me up on like IG or something, Maurice, and let's jump on a call. And I just love to catch up with you. If you guys, Maurice is a friend of mine. He's a great artist and kind of all-around tech guy as well. So awesome to see you on here, brother. I like the profile photo too with the headphones. I dig it. Getting interesting, indeed. Yeah, life is always interesting, my friend. Joe says he has 3 #1 comics. Well, I guess it really depends on what those comics are, Joe. That matters. It's if it's like Superman #1, yeah, you're a multi-millionaire. If it's like some crappy comic #1, then you might have lost money in the long run. It also depends on their condition. I used to read a lot of comics. I've never been someone who like holds on to a lot of things. So like I kept some of the comics I've read over the years, but a lot of them I just would give to the library after I was done, or I'd just give them away. Like I never wanted to be like have a ton of stuff cluttering my personal space. I know they're collectible and all types of stuff, but like I only really kept the ones like I really enjoyed, and sometimes not even like whole runs of story arcs, just like certain episodes or certain issues. Glad to see things evolving on your show. Let's definitely connect. Yeah, let's definitely do it, man. Let's like I said, hit me up on IG, or I think you have my email. Just ping me and we'll schedule something for sure. Let's jump on a Zoom call sometime and just catch up. It'd be fun. Apple Vera, Sawadi crap. Sawadi my crap. I lost money. I got them when I was a kid. Joe, you're a young guy, right? I mean, I don't know how old. I gotta think you're at least 40. But yeah, if they're still in good condition, it depends on what they are. They might be worth it. They might be worth something. See, you had to be here earlier, Hike. We give the updates at the beginning, my friend. But today's the third day in a row with less than 10,000 new reported cases, Hike. So we're in the 9,000 range the last 3 days, which is very good for us during this final wave. Our vaccination numbers are through the roof, which is great. But our deaths are still over 100 a day. So hopefully, with the vaccination getting to like that sort of threshold, my hope is that new cases won't be as impactful and deaths will start to drop off. And as that happens, I believe that the mayor of Bangkok or the overall government contingent will start to have a more favorable view on a potential opening of Bangkok. I still don't think a sandbox model is going to work in Bangkok. I just can't see it happening here, to be honest. So Bangkok's too transient of a city to actually think that a sandbox model is going to have any real effect because you just so many people coming in and out, and it's so easy just to kind of get outside the actual limits of the city without being checked. It's not like Phuket or Samui, which are islands and are easy to control the population as far as movement. So from that perspective, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think if the overall population gets to a significant threshold of vaccination and the hospital system is no longer overrun, then tourism could definitely return here. When you were born, dirt was new? I thought it wasn't even dirt yet. It was still being ground down from the rocks, Joe. Here in Bama, some restaurants have a sign to wear a mask, and I wear one. Others, no sign, and at work, people wear masks. That's good, man. I mean, everyone wears a mask here. It's culture in Asia, right? So even before COVID, like you would see 10%. If you're on the train, 10% of people would be wearing a mask, even before this was a thing. So, and if you work in an office somewhere in the States, you go in and people would be like, people go in and if they don't feel good, they'll wear a mask to prevent spreading sickness. It's very common. And so I think that's why it's been such a non-issue here, is everyone wears it anyway. And, I think that's why early on, even before we had vaccinations and we had strict social distancing and different controls and areas, I think that's why things went so well for us infection-wise. And when it went off the rails, it went off the rails hard because we were behind the 8 ball on vaccinations. Obviously we got to that party late, and that's unfortunate. Oh, Jib in the chat, what's going on? Hey, you already back from the temple, babe? So like I said, guys, Jib was making merit today. So I'm home to collect packages and do live streams, and Jib is out grabbing out at the temple. So hopefully, and say hi to your mom for me, babe. Trying to. In every store that has a pharmacy, there will be a big sign saying the vax is given here. Hey, that's good, man. Are you fully vaxxed up, Hike? Jib and I both have the dose shot of 2 shots of AstraZeneca. And now we're both outside our gestation period, so we are fully vaxxed. You think that the Thai Filipino women are of similar temperament? I don't know too many Filipino women. I know Gracie, Mike's wife. That Jib and I were their witnesses at their wedding. Gracie's super chill. Jib is super chill. I mean, temperament-wise, I don't know. Similar. I know a few Filipinos, like his friends, and they're all like really chill. But I mean, I don't think you can paint with big brush strokes like that, Eric. I think if we ask my buddy Tony, he knows a different type of women in both Thailand and Philippines, and I think he would probably say they're more volatile. There's a lot to it, but I think for the most part, right, Thailand's a Buddhist country, and there's a very chill factor that comes with the people here. That I think just overall is as a mindset or as a lifestyle that's part of it. Yellow, my mellow fellows. Hey, what's up, Craig? How's things, my man? You all crispy, ready for relaxing this evening on that vacation high or that retirement high still? Joe is Methuselah, your younger brother. I feel like I'm watching Bangkok Strange. Oh, do you have the two lives on side by side? Oh, quick day. Nice. So you guys doing lunch now? I know you said you have a few other things you have to do at the house. Oh, yeah. Have to have lunch with mom at house. Nice. So you guys doing salmon? Or are you guys going to get Thai food? Hey, Jib. Just watched BTS Siluet video. Very good. Hey, thanks, Scott. Yeah, we had a ton of fun making that. We have 2 more already shot, I was talking about earlier. So, and we're starting, the format's changing a little. It's evolving as we go, which I like. And I think by the time we get to probably episode 5 or 6, the flow of it will feel quite a bit different. And I think you'll see, it'll have a different vibe, same vibe, but like a different edit style. And we're trying to do less voiceover and do more kind of like in the moment commentary on it as well. So much research goes into those. It's, half of the fun of it is like researching the different places, figuring out where we're going to walk, what we want to see, and where we're going to sort of draw the limits. Like in episode 4, you'll see we actually take a ferry and go out to an island that we think is, kind of part of that BTS sort of ecosystem, or that station ecosystem. One of the other things that I thought, episode 3 will be the outlier development wise, for the most part. But then you see like episode 4 is probably the most rural of the first 4 that we've done. It's really a wild ride. Got the shot, nice. Hike Adam was my little bro. My temperament is so good now. Drive-through just had a promo on bud strains. You can really feel it in your... Oh, yeah, it's a good one, is it? Man, I mean, the selection of strains that you see in the U.S. now is unreal. Like, back in the 90s and stuff, like, the only thing I ever heard of was like it was either like the crap weed they had in the East Coast, or like someone would be like, I got some purple haze from out west, and that was it. Of course, salmon. Jib's on this, like, Jib joined a group of like people who were like salmon chefs in before lockdown. And they didn't have jobs, so they started cutting salmon at home and selling it on Robinhood or like other apps. And so now Jib finds all these crazy good salmon deals. How's bubble tourism going? So I don't know that we have a tourism bubble with anyone who can just pop in and pop out. But the sandbox is still kind of a slow start. It's not the big boom I think they hoped it would be. But it's something, right? It's just not like this massive boom of tourism. I don't think that we're ever going to have like a travel bubble unless it's like with our neighbors like Malaysia and Singapore, but they're both having their own struggles with COVID and whatnot. So, I think it's really going to come down to high vaccination rates and then excluding countries that don't have it, that don't have those rates. Yeah, Jib, we were talking earlier about how you had the baton out while we were filming the last episode, ready to go, and so now we've ordered some dog whistles as well as I ordered some dog spray. We'll see if it actually ships. But yeah, Jib is not a fan of the random dogs, and like this is a thing. Like I was saying earlier, guys, if it's one dog, two dogs, that's not a big deal. Like very easy to sort of like assert dominance and get them away from you. Like these stray dogs, what we call soy dogs in Thailand. If they're one or two aggressive dogs, it's very easy to be the dominant one and get them to back down. It's when there's like 8, 9, 10, 12 of these dogs that it's very, very dangerous and very threatening. Because if they did attack, as opposed to just try to be aggressive, you would be at an incredible disadvantage. And some of these sites we've actually run into, like I said last week, we ran into a pack of dogs while we were a half a kilometer in on a walkway over a klong. So we had nowhere to go. That was not the best situation to be in from a safety perspective. And that's when Jib had the baton out and like already extended. So, that's not the greatest situation. But then you run into like a pack of 10 dogs at the temple that are super chill and just want to walk around and not bother anyone. So, it all depends. It's those types of aggressive soy dogs that, we're seeing a lot of in Samut Prakan. And actually, Samut Prakan was a couple years ago where the biggest rabies outbreak Thailand had ever seen was. So, something we're very, very aware of that is possible. But then you see, like we saw other soy dogs that they don't care. They just want to hang out and chill, and they're used to seeing people. One of the funny things, someone accused my hat. I was wearing a brimmed hat to protect my pasty white skin from Thailand's sun. They said that the dog was freaking out because of my hat. And Jim was like, don't be an idiot. Don't say stuff you don't know anything about. It's not his hat. The dog's a psycho. Do you like cats? I don't. I'm not a huge cat person. Jib loves cats. And she'll try to, anytime she sees like a stray cat in the neighborhood, she'll try to coax it into being her cat. Hey, Stuck, what's going on? No Jib today. She had to make merit for her granny. So it's basically her family went to temple to pray for her granny who passed away 50 days ago. And so I stayed home to get packages and do the live stream and stuff like that. Because we do have a few things that are delivering today. And Jib will spend the morning and afternoon with her family. So yeah, Jib does. She likes cats and dogs. But yeah, so I want to clear this. Not all street dogs are scary. Not all soy dogs are scary. In Bangkok, like our neighborhood, there's a bunch of soy dogs. None of them really give us an issue. In most of Bangkok, soy dogs are incredibly calm. They're well fed. They're well taken care of by people. 7-Eleven adopts dogs. Like you'll just see dogs hanging out in front of 7-Eleven, and people will come out and they'll pet the dog and they'll give it some food. It's very rare in a populated area of Bangkok to find an aggressive soy dog, to be honest. And you will also very rarely find packs of dogs in populated areas of Bangkok. Now, that's not to say they don't exist. There are aggressive dogs everywhere. There are packs of dogs in Bangkok that you can run into. When I film the videos where I walk down the klongs, I'm very aware that I could come in contact with an aggressive dog or a pack of aggressive dogs. That is a strong possibility. So, because those are very kind of remote areas, that's the type of area that those dogs would be in. But if it's just me, I'm confident that I would be okay. Worst case scenario, I'd get bitten and I'd have to get a series of rabies shots. But with Jib, that might not be the case. So, we have a different level of experience when it comes to that. But in Bangkok, for the most part, soy dogs are well fed. They're well treated. You don't really worry about a random soy dog in a populated area. On the Klong, yes, it's a worry. In a more remote area of Bangkok, yes, I'd be worried. But to give you an example, like one of the dogs we saw at the end of the day, the one where the people were saying my hat was making the dog freak out because people don't wear hats in Samutprakan apparently. That dog had clearly been abused. It was someone's dog. It was wearing a collar, but they had drawn on the dog's face with marker. And I mean, the dog was clearly not treated very well. And I'm sure that was a big part of why it was so aggressive. And it happens. Another one that was scary, when we were filming episode, I believe 3, we walked by a bus depot. And when we walked by the first time, it was no issue. And then we went to that cafe where you guys saw the cafe with the laundromat, and Jib had the chocolate cake. And when we came out of there, when we came out of that when we came out of the cafe, walked back past the bus depot, like 10 dogs came out, and all of a sudden became aggressive. And some local auntie was shooing some of them away, but a few of them got really close to us. So it can happen. I mean, there are situations where that's a thing. But again, that is a very rural area. Thunder was a very popular strain. What's that? I got some good medical stuff. Hey, Jib. Yeah, like I said, like the sandbox, just okay from what I've seen, from what I've heard. We're going back to okay check. It's going to okay, but I still pray and get high as fuck every day for reassurance. Well, I mean, that's just a lifestyle now, right? HAF. It's the hashtag HAF. That's the lifestyle, Craig. Everyone loves puppies, Joe. Street dogs remind me of Reza. Like I said, most street dogs, like in Bangkok, street dogs are great. Well, I've been up in Isan, like in Ubon Ratchathani, which is still a city, and even in the populated areas there, though, some of the dogs are pretty aggressive. Just saw that soy dog bite the eyeball of a 2-year-old on the Channel 3. What? I didn't see that. That's crazy. Where was that, in Bangkok? Was that somewhere else, Craig? Who? No, Joe, not at all. No, it's not a thing here. Not that I've ever seen. They do in Vietnam. You can actually find street vendors that sell dog, and like one particular part of China as well. Who doesn't eat dog? The Thai life. But much better question. Who doesn't eat dog, right? Hot dogs all the time. Yeah, not that I've ever seen. Like I said, not that I've ever seen in Thailand. I mean, I've seen, like in Isan, they eat some crazy stuff, but not dog that I've seen. Me too, Craig. Me too. Not bad. It's going well. Hike Design Studio's doing pretty good. I can't complain. So what is Nana? Nana is just a neighborhood, Joe. Just a neighborhood. I'm sure I'll show it to you when you get here. We'll bring you out there one day for a very late lunch. Yeah, Nana is very. I don't know that it's going to be the same after this. I mean, money, obviously, demand will always dictate the area, but quite a few things have closed, and I've seen quite a bit of development there since all the shutdowns. So, with that, I'm sure like things like Nana Plaza on Soy 4 will still exist, but I think you'll see a big change in the demographic of a lot of those areas. I think, obviously Soy Cowboy will always be Soy Cowboy as well, which blows my mind just because I know it predates Asok being Asok, but when you think of the cost of that real estate in where Soy Cowboy is. That is amongst like such prime real estate, that you have to realize how much money they must be making to hold on to that sliver of road between Soy's 21 and 23. It is absolutely insane. And the amount of cash that Soy must generate for them to stay there and that not be turned into some other type of urban development is absolutely bonkers. First time I ate dog was on the Pine Ridge Res. I thought they were joking with me. Yeah, I've never had dog. I had a friend in the Army who ate dog on a mission. That was one of the things they were cooking up locally, and he had to eat, and that's what they had, and they offered it to him, and he ate it, and he didn't know what it was until later. But he said it didn't matter; he would have eaten it anyway. He was starving. Is the A library in Nana? I'm sure there's a library there. So Thailand doesn't really have public libraries in the same sense as America. That's actually an interesting topic. Jib and I are members of what is essentially a private design library, the AISDC, AIS Design Center in Emporium or in Quartier, one of the two malls at Prampong. So Jib and I are essentially members to that private library. It's also a co-working space. It's also, it serves a bunch of functions, but it's a private library as well, and it has this huge design resource, like thousands of books on design, all types of design. And my neighbor's like freaking out. I don't know if you guys can hear that. This is a crappy neighbor across the street who's if white trash was a thing. Jib says Emporium. It's an Emporium. Real quick, no hot dogs, Joe, just spicy sausage. But yeah, the AISDC is a great resource as a library, but there are a lot of private libraries in Thailand, in Bangkok. Not that, Jib, you might be able to answer this. I don't know. I don't think I know of any public libraries the same way that we have in America, like the New York City Library. There's no Bangkok library. There's like universities have libraries. TU Tapajan has a beautiful library. Chula has a beautiful library. But those are university assets. So it's slightly different than the idea of like a public library that you can just go into, take a book out, or work in for the day. I would like to see that in Thailand at some point, but it doesn't exist just yet. But the private library, the AISDC that we belong to, is 1,200 baht a year, and you can work there all day. You can nap on the couches there if you want to. I mean, if you go to their location down by the river, by Thai General Post, they have a 3D printer that you can use. So they have a CNC machine. They have a lot more hands-on design stuff there. Whereas in Emporium, it's more of a resource center and a co-working space with beautiful views. Jib has done she'll go there sometimes and do some work just to have a different view, because they have a beautiful view right out the window. You see Benjasiri Park from their bench if you work at the window bench, or if you just want to sit at the desk, whatever. I have short legs, so I can't use the stools. If a soy and Cheyenne tell you it's a dog stew, believe them. Oh. The girls got bit in one of those construction worker camps in oh, damn. Yeah, I can see that, man. Some of those construction camps are pretty wild. And who knows? I mean, they might have been fighting dogs there. I've seen crazier stuff on construction sites at the camps. My cousins across the street. And maybe some of my cousins as well, man. If we're talking about the Whiskey Tango. Yeah, I don't know. Just they're being loud, man. Like for at literally what is it, 10 a.m., 10:09. I mean, they're just bad neighbors in general. They have parties, like they're having parties during like lockdown where there was like restrictions on numbers of people you could have. They got people over past curfew. They like to be loud all during the week. And for whatever reason, the dude who lives there enjoys walking. He's not even that. He's like 20 years old. He doesn't even fit in the shirtless uncle club, but he's like in his 20s, and he likes to walk around outside with no shirt on, talking on his cell phone and smoking up and down the soy. And like, if you're gonna walk around with your shirt off all the time, either one, be over the age of 50 so you fit in the shirtless uncle club, or which it's like kind of like a joke. Like every neighborhood has a shirtless uncle that will like keep an eye on everyone. We have one on our soil as well. He's a taxi driver, and I think he drives overnight, and so he's home all day washing his taxi, hanging out on the soil with no shirt on. So he's just keeping an eye on things. But yeah, this guy, he doesn't even work out. He's all flabby looking, like no muscle at all. And he just hangs outside all the time, and it's annoying. Then when I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife or whatever, like she talks so loud that when she's in the house you can hear her outside, like no matter what, like on the phone, talk to someone else, like you just always hear her. We have it now. Oh, we do. So we have to check that out sometime because I didn't even know. I just know about like the private libraries that are very popular here. I didn't know we had a national one. So definitely something to check out. I might have a delivery. Let's see. I just heard someone stop. I never knew we had a national library. Definitely something I wanna learn more about, if possible. Tell the neighbor hi for me. Maganj, what's up, man? How's things in Arizona? Oh, very nice Old Town. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do that. Maybe we'll do that. We'll combine that with a trip to when we're something to do with the J Festival that's going on right now. Oh yeah, right now is the J Festival, which is the Thai Vegan Festival, which means that there's a bunch of junk food for me to eat. Oh, weather's finally getting nice again. Oh, good. Well, Arizona's kind of always warm, right? Oh, the small orange bus. I love Thai buses. I've got a real thing for public transportation, guys. Absolutely love Thai public transportation as well. It is quite phenomenal. And even the buses, they might be old and rickety, but their routes are so robust. They cover basically every part of the city with a high frequency. Like I grew up in such a crappy part of Rhode Island that there was only one bus like every hour and a half that went to my neighborhood. So it was very, very, very inconvenient like to live where I lived if you didn't have a car. And it wasn't like an affluent area. I grew up very poor. So, to live somewhere where we can take a bus anywhere where we can go, like I can take the train, not having to own a car is my preferred way to live. Like when I lived in Boston and didn't own a car, I loved it. When I had to own a car as an adult was like the least favorite time of my life. Like driving a car, I mean, even like obviously living in Cleveland, living in Rhode Island, like winter times are rough, but like driving a car is still just kind of like this dead time. Whereas like if you're riding a bike or you're taking the train, you can do so much more and your experience is so much richer in my perspective of that. And living car free is like one of the best things. Like I still own a scooter. I think a scooter is like the ultimate urban vehicle. And like any scooter, like it doesn't matter if I have the MSX, which is I do look like a bear in the circus riding the tricycle when I'm on the MSX, but because I have such short legs, it's actually a really good fit for me. But yeah, it's like the scooter is the ultimate urban vehicle. You can like it's a utility vehicle. You can put a basket on the back and haul stuff. You can, in Thailand, you'll see them weld the sidecars up and have little mobile street, like a food truck, but on a scooter, a food scooter. And you can use it for transportation. Like the project I have coming up in November, you'll see the scooter plays a big role in that. So it is really something different. And you're not trapped in a car. Yeah, the rainy season sucks, but it sucks when it rains no matter where you are. So when you were a kid, you would have loved to get stuck on your bike in the rain. Same thing in Thailand. Just embrace it. Just don't keep your MacBook in your backpack. The squeeze bus. Depends on what part of the state, but it gets freezing. Oh, really? Wow. Plus 3 minus cups coffee left out of pot. Ooh. Just 3. You going to do another pot, Joe? I took the bus today in Phoenix for the first. What's Phoenix public transportation infrastructure like, Greg? Because I know it's been this massive sprawl city. Is it pretty good to get around without a car in Phoenix? Okay, so Jib mentions this, but ask her if she would actually want to ride on the back of the scooter. So I think no. But maybe if in the future, if I get another scooter, I will definitely get one that has a back seat where Jib can fit comfortably, like something like a CT 125 or a Honda Wave or something, or a Super Cub, where there's like a dedicated seat just for Jib. No way. No Harley for me, man. Too big. See, Jib says no more scooter, but I don't know. Jib, would you ride on the back if I had a scooter that had a back seat, would you ride on the back or no? Or you just like giving me a hard time because I fill up the whole seat? They still right. What's a burro? The donkey burro. I take a cab, guys. I know that we've shown this in a few videos. The craft shop video I'm editing now. We have a lot of footage from cab. God, they are so comfortable. Such a good ride experience. Like so big, especially if you have. When we came back from the craft shop, was like going there was nice just because we had a lot of room. Coming back was perfect because we had like 10 bags of stuff. No more for me. Need to be up at 4:30. Ooh, 4:30 is rough. What time? It's already past 10 there? Or it's 11 there, right? There's a bus, and some areas have access to light rail. It's just a fancy looking trolley. Hey, that's cool, man, though. Trolley's good. If it has a good route, and the problem with trolley, in my experience, San Francisco obviously has a big cable car network, big trolley network, but from what I've seen in the U.S., most areas that have trolleys are just tourist areas. So it's a transportation feature focused on tourists, which is great if tourism is a big part of your city, but not really the best infrastructure wise for a city. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's expensive and inefficient. Yeah. The other thing is, a lot of times they put them on the road, so trolleys have to contend with, they mix with traffic, which I think is kind of crazy. Whereas, I see my neighbor's got more people coming over now. And for some reason, my neighbor's friends think it's okay to park their bikes in the middle of the soy, even though that the house at the end has a van business and they need to come in and out all day. Oh, wow. But, so yeah, trolleys can mix with traffic, and so it's not always the greatest thing. The SkyTrain in Bangkok, by far my favorite public transportation globally in the world is that SkyTrain in Bangkok. I'm like way out of frame. There we go. Or way off center of frame. But yeah, I think the SkyTrain is fantastic. The BTS is absolutely amazing. A clean, 20 years old. It's on its third. It's over 20. It's in its third decade of life, and they look brand new. They've been so well maintained, and the population just absolutely respects the train. There's no graffiti, there's no trash, no stains on the seats. Just fantastic. Need a 3-seater bike. In Thailand, a 3-seater is just a regular scooter, Joe. They should do a Thai version of the old Cash Cab game show. Thais love, they love game shows. They love cash, and anything with gambling, I think, would do well. Yeah, a lot of it's in regular road. It has the damn poles and wire. So when I lived in Boston, I lived on the part of the Green Line that was above ground, but it had its own sort of dedicated middle section of the road. So like traffic did have to cross the tracks at some points, but for the most part, like you weren't mixing with traffic unless you were coming up on that intersection. Hint, under your neighbor sells Yaba, bro. Who you kidding? They very well might. They very well might. I wouldn't doubt it, Craig. Tell the guys next door hi for me. If I go out there, it's going to be a confrontation, Joe. That's for sure. Can Jib talk to the neighbor? Easy to hear complaints from her, maybe. No, they don't talk at all. We do not mingle with that particular neighbor. We have neighbors next to us that are fantastic. The neighbors at the end of the soy that own the big compound, fantastic. If, for whatever reason, whoever lives in those two houses at the end of the other side are just always end up getting rented to, I would say, scumbags. Pieces of human trash, piles of human excrement, if you will. Took Confessions would be a great show, Craig, especially like picking people up outside Cowboy at 2 a.m., bringing them back to their hotel and just filming confessions or filming what goes on in the back of a tuk-tuk. That could be hilarious. GoPro reveals all. I think it's their nature, loud, inappropriate. Yeah, loud. I still don't understand why that woman feels the need to speak so loud that we can hear her inside our house from inside her house. Like, what conversation are you having that is that important or that dramatic that everything you say needs to be completely audible? It's let's see. I got him on the security camera here. There's a. Oh, that neighbor is the one downside to this neighborhood. Our other neighbors, completely awesome. Our neighbors that we share a wall with, absolute awesome people. Young husband and wife, probably in their early 30s, little baby, and just really cool, down-to-earth people, fun. You can joke with them. We grab packages for them when they get delivered during the day because they both work in an office. So if stuff comes, we're here to get it for them, or we've been out on the weekend and we're like, hey, or on the weekend, one of them might be working from home. We're like, hey, can you grab this for us? Yeah, it's never an issue. So, and it's always fun. We always joke about stuff. So, yeah, very cool. She's over there practicing. God, I would hate to hear that neighbor sing. Her voice must be horrific. Just her speaking voice is painful enough to listen to. I can only imagine what her singing voice would be. Jingla, Tum and Lek are same age as us. They're both in their 40s. I thought for sure Tum and Lek were in their 30s, babe. They're in their 40s, really. Damn. They have their baby's not even one yet. Maybe he's one, right? He was born. No, if he's one, he's just one. But sometimes he'll cry during the day, or at night usually, when they're here at night. and he'll start to cry. And so I'll shoot them a message online. I'll be like, "You guys got to keep your kid down. He can't be partying this late at night." Just jokingly. And because we can't really hear him. Like, we can sort of hear him through the wall, but like if he's crying, you just hear like a little bit. And it's like not annoying or anything. I just like to joke with them about it. And they're like, "Oh, ha, ha." But yeah, it's they don't even stay here overnight usually, just on the weekends. So they still have their other house out like on the outskirts of Bangkok. And they bought this place because it's closer to where they both work. One of them works like just 2 neighborhoods over. Actually, near the building. He works right near the building that we almost rented, the commercial building, where the landlord just flaked on us. And the other one works for Nanyang, the shoe company. So yeah, that is both a close commute for them. And see now, yeah, you might be right. My neighbor might be selling yaba. They're just like straight up hanging out on scooters. Oh, this is good. She's got, I don't know if you guys can see, they pulled away. So there's like 4 of them. She got her 2 kids on the scooter with someone else and her. Classic. Yeah, Jib's got, that's $2 Jib made. So I'm clearly the one with the beard. Clearly the one with the beard, Maganj. Put dog food on their side, 6 large bags. And just dump it in their driveway when they're gone. Does Jib know of a certain... Jib, do you know who Richard Simmons is? That's a good question. Hey, Chief, what's up? Poe on the go. How's things in the D? Detroit. Oh man, I tell you, I was. If you guys watched the episode 2 of the BTS series, there was an old rusted sign, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of Cleveland, like just a rusted out, like middle of nowhere America, like rusted out sign, and the same thing in some Leprechaun, just the sign over the store was all rusted and decrepit. I was like, it's got a real Cleveland vibe to it. Could be a Detroit vibe back in the day too. I've mentioned before I moved to Thailand, I was actually thinking about buying a building in Detroit, and that building ended up getting shot up like between the first and second time I looked at it. But there was just a bunch of like rusted out, decrepit stuff going on like in that neighborhood in Detroit when I looked at that. But yeah, it was like a huge building for like a fraction of the price of what I spent on my house. And so I would have like been in the clear. I would have had to spend the rest on renovations. Like the roof leaked, all types of issues. It was a flat roof. It was an old brick building. There was also a crack in one of the walls. And when I talked to a mason, he was like, that's going to be expensive. You can make a video on neighbor clips. Yeah, right? I should just put a live feed up with a security camera and let people watch it. Watch my neighbors be... We have audio on the security as well. Watch my neighbors be complete douchebags. I'm actually not sure the legality around if I could broadcast a security feed like that in Thailand. Even though it's a public place, Thailand has some strange laws on privacy. So I'd have to really check on that. There are so many cities in the U.S. now that are just crack havens more every day. Yeah, I think meth is like the real meth and opioids are the real issue in America now, right? Opioid epidemic sweeping across the Midwest, methamphetamines, West Coast, Midwest, crazy. East Coast, same thing. It's pretty wild. But the whole opioid thing is insane. I saw a video of and like this blew my mind of how powerful the drugs are. There was a cop who touched fentanyl. Like they had arrested someone who had fentanyl, and he touched it without gloves, and passed out, like just collapsed, fell over on the sidewalk, and the cop who he was with had to administer some other drug that I guess stops an overdose of fentanyl, of opioids, or inhibits the impact of it. And but literally he touched it and seconds later just collapsed. And the cop ended up living, but it was so crazy to see. I had no idea how powerful those drugs were, and that just making contact with it, this guy collapsed. That blew my mind. And so they put that drug in his nose. Like he had to not inject it, but I guess it sprays in his nose. And because I guess that capillary system is good for delivery. And he was still, even though with the shot of that, he was coming to, but he was still not in a good place. And the video I saw, it was like a news clip, said he ended up being in the hospital for weeks recovering. But yeah, imagine a drug that powerful that just contact with the skin can cause an overdose. You have a neighbor cam has a. I probably have pigeons in my other camera too. Let me see. I don't think we get pigeons on the back. So I have a camera we have a back patio on the second floor where the laundry is, and no pigeons there. No pigeons there. But I bet you, I have the front camera of the driveway. Sometimes we get pigeons that fly in there. We end up having to put spikes everywhere. Yeah, heroin's a major problem right now based on the opioid problem. Yeah. Yeah, well, heroin's opium, right? Straight opium. Or processed opium. Kensington videos are insane. Kensington, is that the drug? The recovery drug? Here, Poe, yeah, the incident you're talking about, the officer had to use Narcan, that's what it is, yeah, to stop him from killing it. Yeah, but, he just touched it, it absorbed through his skin. I was, blown away. How absolutely powerful that is, and that, now maybe I look at it from another perspective, that, why would you take that to get high? But I guess, if you have an issue with, I know from being friends with Mike, and he had his issues with addiction that he's very open about, that when you're an addict, you look at it in a very different light. It's not why the hell would you take something that could kill you? It's where can I get more of that? So, yeah, it's pretty insane. But, yeah, Narcan, yeah, God, it was pretty wild. Why are cops administering drugs? I think it's something they carry in case they come up on someone who ODs. It's in their kit, Greg. It's not, so it's a nasal spray. It's apparently it's something you can get I don't know if it's OTC or if it's something that over the counter, or if it's something that they're given, but it's something that they use to administer before medical response shows up. If they respond to a drug overdose, that it's something that can, buy time for medical personnel to get there. Oh, here we go. Narcan is an anti-opioid compressed nasal spray issuing to police has saved out. Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure it's usually used for when they respond to drug overdoses, they can give that, and if it's an opioid overdose, it does something to counteract the effects of the opioid, which I believe is usually a respiratory failure opioid overdose. I was watching a report of the literal tonnage of raw material coming from China to Mexico and turning into fentanyl. Bad. Yeah, the fact that, so the fentanyl absorbs through the skin apparently, because this cop just happened to touch it. And I believe he was in training as well. So he was a new cop, and he happened to touch the drug and almost die. I mean, talk about a shitty day at the office. Oh, here we go. Fentanyl is such a potent drug. It's very lethal. Many opioid users have gotten to the point that they need something stronger. Ergo fentanyl. Damn. Is it a painkiller or is it used for something else, like medically, not recreationally? If I don't even know if recreational is the right term here, but like is fentanyl like a painkiller medically, or is it used for like some other type of application medically than pain? Potent drug. There we go. So Craig says most cops aren't trained proficiently in the use of their weapon. I'll wait for the EMT. Touch it, then just happen to rub his gun. I don't know. No, if you watch the video, Greg, it's like they had just finished searching the guy, and like they were going through what he had searched, and he didn't know what it was, and he didn't have latex gloves on, and like literally collapsed from that. I mean, it was kind of wild, but yeah, it is. Also, I'm never going to be. I don't plan to overdose on opioids anytime soon, so hopefully I don't have to experience it. Yeah, fentanyl is a very strong painkiller used for severe conditions like stage 4 cancer. Oh, yeah, so super hardcore. Oh, Scott, man, thank you for the super chat, brother. Much appreciated. Very, very much appreciated. I'll wait for that. I think it should pop up on the other chat here. Let's see. On the window. It takes a little while sometimes for the mechanism to pop it up. Let's see if it happens. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much, man. Very much appreciated. And the super chats and the buy me a coffees really help, guys. So, really, like I said, it offsets, especially stuff like the BTS series. So thank you so much. For everyone who's the super chats and the coffees today. Thank you to all you guys. How naloxone saves lives in opioid overload. Naloxone is that Narcan? Is the same thing? John, so she's making merit today with her family. So her granny died 50 days ago. And again, Poe, thank you for the image you did of her granny as well, or for her granny with the Buddha's eye. Very much appreciated. So in Thai culture, like 50 or 100 days after the funeral or after the death, they make merit. It's kind of like them going to the temple and praying. So that was this morning. And so Jib's with her family this morning. They went to make merit to pray at the temple. And the monks will do like a blessing. And now they're already done. So that's why she was in the chat. She's having lunch with her mom and her dad and jam. And then they'll be home later this afternoon. Craig says they just busted a man and a woman in SoCal with enough fentanyl ingredients to kill 50 million. Gee, oh man. Drugs are crazy business, as far as like, there's obviously money in it, right? Or people wouldn't take that type of risk. Like I'm sure in California, they're probably looking at a life sentence in the California penitentiary system, which my understanding is not pleasant. So they're probably looking at life sentences for that much drugs. And, people wouldn't take that much risk if there wasn't opportunity to make a load of money. Maybe his was homemade fentanyl? Possible. Not much, but the dollar at the high end of the... Hey, you know what, man? Every little bit counts, Scott. So thank you so much, man. A baht or a dollar, it's all good, man. It's the one is the thought, and two, it's it all adds up over time. So thank you so much, man. I love your profile picture, by the way. It's a cool statue. Glad she could be with her family. Yeah, thank you so much, man. Today's kind of a good day, like for Buddhists, like when they do the merit, like after the funeral. So if you watched the video that we did about the funeral, I know there's not a lot of description in it. We wanted it to just really be like sort of like somber and respectful to the events of the day, but that's more of the somber day, and more of the day where they're kind of like, it's more kind of cathartic, and they're kind of getting through the process. Whereas today is really the day where they look back, and it's a much happier day. And a lot of time has passed. They've reflect on that, and this is the day that they kind of leave happy. And so like Jib's unfortunately had to do this a few times since we've been together with different family members, and that period is always this is sort of like the moving past it and remembering the happy times with Granny. So from that perspective, this will be a very pleasant day for her family overall, and they're probably really enjoying lunch, not just because it's salmon, but because they're all together and having a good time. And I think that's the important thing here. It's part of the process. It's very fulfilling process to go back X amount of time later and have that sort of that finalization of it all. You don't have to kind of cram it all into the one day. And also, keep in mind, Jib's granny was 97, and she was, not in good health, and she had some mental decline. So it wasn't necessarily a bad thing when she passed. It was a negative, it was a sad thing, but it also concluded a lot of struggle and painful times over the past few years for her. So this is sort of the all-around closure on that as well. And it'll be good. Whereas the first time with the funeral, her mom really struggled, Jib really struggled, with the memory, with the loss, which I get. And today will be kind of more of the remembrance and just kind of a happier day overall. Been some major debate over fentanyl, and the fact that China has literally been dumping it across the world is just a major, big cash cow for sure. Like I said, there's risk to everything. There's a fat burner that bodybuilders take called DMP. And it's actually a fat burner that works. So it uncouples fat and allows your body to burn it freely. It's illegal the world over. It's actually the first drug that the FDA ever banned. It's got some toxicity issues with it, but also an overdose of it is guaranteed death. Your body can just burn up. So the byproduct of uncoupling and burning fat is that your body produces heat. And so while you take it, your body will be at a higher temperature the entire time. So it's very, very dangerous. And some people take crazy dosages of it, a gram a day. And it's got a 36 to 44 hour lifespan. So it's in your system. If you're taking it daily, you're compounding the numbers. But it's sold now as a fertilizer, so you can buy it as a fertilizer. And people do, and they take it. But people make it by ordering the raw ingredients for it from China. So China will send you all the ingredients by the barrel full, and you can just make it and sell it as fertilizer. And a lot of people sell fertilizer in 50 milligram pill forms. And they say, the instructions will come and say, just push it in the soil. But outside of sort of biohackers who have tested it and bodybuilders, there's almost no medical research on it at all. Just because the dangers of it are so high if someone were, one, to have wrong dosing, two, to not be able to understand the actual mechanism and just think you can take as much as you want and it will just uncouple more fat. So it depletes your cellular DMP and all these other things. But yeah, you can get the raw ingredients from China and make it on your own. No big deal. And the ingredients themselves are legal, so you can get the ingredients shipped to you from anywhere in the world, from China, and then make it and sell a fertilizer. And you obviously know what people are going to use it for, but I'm sure fentanyl and other things, you can do a lot of things with drugs and supplements in China that you can't do the world over. My friend Tony has a company that sells SARMs, which is like an androgen-specific type of drug. He has them made in China. As far as I know, they're illegal everywhere else in the world. They'll just tell on someone higher up and take a plea deal for probation. Maybe, man, but at that much fentanyl, who knows? Like, is there anyone higher up, or were they trying to start their own empire? Whiskey and Shot should not smoke have revealed the info. Now Jason on the way to your house. Very likely, very likely. Booma, Friday the 13th, the light will go us. Let's hope not, Amazakian. Let's hope not. Oh, no, pumpkin. Hopefully no pumpkin spice in Thailand. I don't know. Maybe Starbucks has pumpkin spice lattes here and stuff for October. Thai baht is almost 34 to $1. Wow. Is it that good right now? Yes, crush the like. FBI and a few other federal agencies, as well as local police, got into a shootout on Amtrak in Tucson. What? A routine search, they call it. If the FBI's there, man, they must have been tracking something, right? They don't generally leave the office for a lot, right? I think they're more intelligence than anything else, or investigative intelligence, right? So, damn, who are they? Who'd they get into a shootout with? That's wild. Someone had to be shooting back, right? They weren't shooting at each other. At least I hope the police and FBI weren't shooting at each other. Kensington, Philadelphia, search it up on YouTube. You will be blown away. Real life zombie wasteland. Kensington. All right, I'm going to Google that. Add that to my list for later. I don't like the war on drugs was definitely a failure from a policy perspective. I mean, like the idea that America could, with a failed correction system, could implement like immediate change or lasting change on the population's pattern of drug behavior through criminalization was probably one of the biggest failures of domestic policy ever. You look at countries that have taken a much more empathetic approach, and they've had much better results long term. But none of those countries, by the same token, right, you have to look at none of those countries have like the population or the landmass diversity of the U.S. So, when you look at countries that are very small, like a couple million people, they can implement policies that are much different. It's very, very nuanced in that way, but 100% agree that the war on drugs was a failure from a policy perspective. Policing in America in general has become kind of a hot topic. There's a lot of issues there as well institutionally, but not necessarily. It's hard to imagine a country without some type of enforcement for illegal activity. But I don't necessarily. I definitely don't think America gets it right. I don't know if you guys remember the story about the Thai guy who walked into a Thai police station with a knife, threatening to like kill himself or kill the police, and the cops talked him down, and they didn't arrest him. They sent him to the hospital, and then they ended up like helping the guy out afterwards. But the cop, it was right after, it was before like George Floyd and all of that. But happened. There had been a string of police shootings at that point, and the Thai cop, when they interviewed him, really took a dig at American policing and the high rate of shootings they have versus Thai police, who I don't think I've never heard a story of a Thai cop shooting and killing someone that I remember. However, we did recently have the case of what they called Joe Ferrari, the police chief who suffocated a drug dealer while trying to extort him for, like $2,000 or something. Or no, $80,000. They were trying to extort $80,000 from a drug dealer, and they were torturing him. They put a plastic bag over his head in the station, and they ended up killing him. So that happens. So you don't hear about that in the U.S. Maybe in the South, like that shit happens between with like local small sheriff's departments and shit, where they still have 6 shooters and cowboy hats, and like the sheriff runs the town or something. But you don't generally hear about like suffocating executions in the U.S. police stations. Joe needs some fertilizer a lot. Yo, man, DMP is some crazy stuff. I would stay away. I tried it. It's definitely. I was talking to my buddy Bear, who's tried it as well. Definitely crazy. Works, but it's crazy. It's amazing what you can get made in China. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is. Do Thais celebrate Halloween? Yes. Hey, Joe, man, thank you for the coffee, dude. War on druggies equals it was a way to make money on both sides. Yeah, it absolutely was, Joe. Hey, actually, while you guys are here, John and Joe, like all you guys who are channel members, there's a feature that's turned on that allows you to highlight comments. Do you guys see that on your end? What that looks like? So Thais do celebrate Halloween, but not like in America, John. Thais like to dress up. Like adult Thais like to dress up and go out to clubs on Halloween, but like they don't go around and collect candy and stuff. But yeah, there are definitely some there's some interesting costumes on Halloween if you go out to certain areas. That is for sure, John. But yeah, no, they don't get into the creepy stuff, which is strange because Thais love ghost stories. And Thai ghost movies, dude, are so good. Like Thai horror can be really good. Okay, says DEA random check at the station. Another random guy just started. Opened fire, killed a young DEA agent, wounded 2 others before being... Damn! Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's that shootout in Phoenix. So something was going down if you just started shooting at the DEA. Man. And I'm sure it wasn't a random check, man. The DEA wasn't there for random reasons. DEA packs some power, some firepower. So if they show up, they know something. They're tracking it. Old Army buddy of mine went to work for the DEA, an old intelligence guy. Went to work for the DEA. So I know stories from him that their intelligence network is quite robust. Hey, what's up, Kim? How's Malaysia? Saw that video where the Thai cop tried to throw a fishing net over a combatant. Hilarious. Yo, man, like sometimes the Thai cops, like a lot of Thai cops don't even carry guns. Like the traffic patrol, if they don't have to, they don't carry a weapon. It's just a different type of policing. It's also just a different approach to life. Again, not perfect by any means. Anyone who lives here will tell you that. But not like... One of my friend Eric, Minority Nomad, I've talked with him before, and he said on different interviews, like as a black dude in America, as a black dude from America, he feels the most unsafe in America, and he doesn't fear law enforcement in other countries as a black guy because it's a non-issue. That's his personal experience, but just from my perspective, cops are much more empathetic in Thailand than the vast majority who I met in America. Not all, but the majority. And I have some friends who are cops in the States who are, still held on to their empathy, still held on to their humanity. And I have friends who became cops and didn't. It's a tough job, too. When I had a friend who was a cop when we were younger, and he ended up quitting after he responded to a call with a dead baby, where a mother got high and suffocated her baby because she fell asleep on top of her. And he couldn't see that. He ended up leaving the job because it was too much for him. So it's a tough job, in general, the shit you see. Oh, haunted attraction. I bet you that would do really well. Especially if it was a legit scary one. Because locals, Thais love to be scared, dude. I bet you that would do great. Routine is the exact quote. What? Did I miss a quote? Whatever happened to Red Bull Air case there? I see what routine is the quote from the news. Yeah. Routine, not random. Okay. Whatever happened to the Red Bull? I think they're still trying to extradite him from somewhere, aren't they? That's a case of the overall legal system being faulty and allowing rich to get away with shit so blatantly. But yeah, I think they reopened and they're trying to extradite him from somewhere. No one can mention that Richard of Colorado guy in the news. I have no idea what was in the news about a guy named Richard from Colorado. That's a good question. Yeah, Eric. The Red Bull thing, I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll talk to Jib, see if she knows what's in the local news. I think they either... This is just... Again, this is speculation, or this is my faulty memory, Eric. I'm not 100% on this. I believe that they knew where he was and they were trying to extradite him, or they thought they knew where he was and they were trying to extradite him. I'm not 100% sure. The Byra HD home defense weapon fires 5.68 caliber hard kinetic rounds or chemical irritant rounds. This thing is sane. Whoa, this sounds like my type of weapon. What is this? I feel like I need one of these. I'll take a photo of that. I feel like I need one of these weapons. Does it fire all 5 at the same time, or one at a time? Is that the capacity? Because it'd be pretty wild if it fired 5 at the same time. Yes, I will, Josh. Yes, I will. Did I miss? Oh, yeah. Gorilla. What's up, man? How's things in Mauritius? I know I saw yours pop up. I must have skipped over it. My bad. How's Mauritius? I like that logo. The gorilla with the red and the blue. That's wild. I got 5 hard rounds for you. Or Josh, is that what she said? 68 cal would hurt a lot. I imagine, yes, it would hurt a lot. Chemical irritant rounds as well. I think that's the way to go if you really want a little mix of 2 chemical irritant and 3 high, what do they call, high kinetic rounds? Hard kinetic rounds. That's what I'm talking about. That logo, yeah, right? That gorilla logo is awesome. Beautiful coloration. I'm seriously offended. Yeah, Josh had his wife. Josh was getting a lot of flack in his comment section on the Suburban Bear channel because he would always he'd find something that was like 9 inches. And he's like, that's what she said, or just the way the wife likes it. And people were like, oh, that's so offensive to your wife, Josh. So his wife filmed a bunch of scenes in inside Home Depot or Lowe's where she's like, I'm so offended. Or she's like, that's actually what I said. Or yes, it is how I like it. It was like he's been cutting those into his videos. They're hilarious. His wife's such a good sport. Or did you do a video, Josh, with Kelly where it was she was using all the drills and you're like, hot wife gets drilled? Oh, what time? Almost 11. Oh, yeah. Running through it today. No Jib, though. It's a hard live stream without Jib. But, yeah, she got to do what she got to do. So, John, I saw you said you don't see the feature for the highlighted message. Joe, you don't see it either? Because I saw it in my... I'll shoot a message to you, John, later. Because I want to see if you can... you and Joe can see it. But it was supposed to be... It was something in the membership page where it said members can highlight a message during chat. No feature on my end. Huh. You should definitely have it because it said, I'll send you a screenshot of what it said in the channel page where it was something like for every month of membership, you can have a highlighted message per live stream. So, I mean, you should have multiple available to you. Maybe it says it's turned on my end. Maybe it's not. Ho, 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 ho. The hard kinetic rounds are like those large marbles we used to play. Oh, wow. There's a great YouTube video on it. Fires as fast as you can pull. Damn. All right, I'm going to look that up. You guys, I'm assuming all of you gentlemen are fans of Jackass. Do you remember the movie where they... Or maybe it was one... I think it was one of the movies, or it might have been the TV show, where they were testing an anti-personnel thing that shot these rubber balls, but it was like a claymore full of rubber balls. And Johnny Knoxville was one of the guys who stood in front of it, no shirt on, and just blasted with this claymore that shot out 100 rubber balls. Oh, those guys! And I remember I've seen clips for the new movie. It looks great. And Steve-O's talking about as long as you get that damage, as long as you get the damage before you're 50, you're fine. And Knoxville's 49, so he'll be great. Okay. If you get it, we can check next time. I'm gonna wrap it up soon, but yeah, there's a feature on the that says unlocked, so I'll check it out. Emailed the great video on Opioid Studio. Oh, nice. Thanks, Josh. I'll take a look. I'm always dubious to click links from Suburban Bear because you never know what it's going to be. He tells you it's one thing, and then it's 9 inches of hard pipe from Lowe's. Who knows? Oh, my neighbor's back at something? Where's my... security footage here. Jib is obsessed with the security camera. So she actually has one of our old iPhones on her. Switched over, still no special feature. Oh, there's a little. I do like that light bulb. Yeah, I think that light bulb is the 3 month or 3 or 4 month logo. You bet you like one of the older ones. Joe and Chris are the two oldest. I know that. They were Joe signed up the day before I had announced the membership. That's how early he was. But yeah, you were right after I announced it. So yeah, I think that's the 4 month logo. Yeah, but no feature to highlight anything, huh? Huh. Switch over. Yeah, still no special feature. All right, I'll take a screenshot. I'll send it, and I want to try to figure it out. But it was supposed to be a new feature I turned on for the members. So, But switch over. It says then you get rickrolled. I've been rickrolled a few times. Old Spice. You know, like the Old Spice commercial is hilarious. But I remember growing up, my dad was a Old Spice guy. He had the old the old ceramic bottles that you have to pour out. He'd slather it on after he shaved, which he shaved. My father had a stash, like just a stash, where he shaved every day. He'd slather on that Old Spice. Ugh. I remember trying it. I had to shave in high school because they didn't allow any facial hair. And I tried the Old Spice a few times. It was like that scene from Home Alone. I don't know why anyone thought that aftershave was a good idea. Luckily, we have like aftershave lotions and stuff like that now. But yeah, the old alcohol-based Old Spice alcohol gel, man. Oh, that burnt. Who will be touring with NKOTB this summer? I don't know who. Who will be touring with them? Who's NK? Oh, New Kids on the Block. Yeah. How much is it per minute? Are you talking about the 9 hard inches of pipe, Joe? Nothing there. 2 to 6 months. Nice. Whoo. Wrong site. Wrong site. Not on your end either. Oh, you're still here, Chris. I thought you were doing lunch. All right, I'm gonna go back. I gotta figure out why that's not showing up for you guys. I have so much of Old Spice. I have 7 kids. Do they still sell the ceramic bottles of Old Spice in the U.S., guys? Those old aftershave products were brutal, but this is true, John, right? That was like acid on your skin. Like, just like, oh my God, throw that on. But yeah, makes a man out of you for sure. If you could take, you can take that on your face after a fresh shave. So when I was in my 20s, before I was naturally bald, I would shave my head bald. And so I would shave every day with the razor. And I remember I used to have this lotion I would put on afterwards. And I remember one time I didn't have any lotion. And I just had this Old Spice in the bathroom. And I threw that on, and it was just like, it burned so bad. Hey, guys, 1 second. I'll be right back. I've got a package. I am back. Hey guys, sorry, Jib's. Hey Jib, if you're watching, your thermal printer arrived for shipping. Is it from China? Probably. No. It's shipped domestically, but probably originally from China. So, because we ship out a bunch of packages, Jib has a shop for her Knit by Jib business. And we ship out a bunch of stuff, and we have to print the labels. And so we were trying to print the A5 and then paste it on, but unfortunately, it's just a waste to print the A5. So we bought a thermal printer to be able to print it out. It'll save time, and it'll pay for itself in like probably a week. Oh, Rick Astley's touring. After Slipknot concert, I'm good for a bit. You're not gonna jump on the New Kids on the Block after Slipknot? Package delivery for your wife, Josh. I didn't think it was that. Package from China. Yeah, all the good stuff here. Osito, man, thank you so much, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm loving making the BTS series. We were talking about it earlier. It's a ton of fun. How was the VIP? Yeah, so I was joking with Poe on the the famous face shot of the Old Spice. Yeah, that's what it felt like first time I used it. I think we can all relate to that. So I was joking with John because the tent for the VIP just looked like this like makeshift tent in the middle of nowhere. I was like, hey, that doesn't look very VIP. And then he like explained to me like all the stuff that it came with. I was like, okay, that sounds pretty baller. But it was kind of funny. It was just like this random tent in the middle of nowhere. It said like a little sign said VIP. But yeah, it sounded like an awesome concert. Jib's store link. I don't have it. Jib, if you're in the chat, babe, if you're still listening, can you throw up the link to the KBJ store? Actually, you know what I got to do this week is get I got to take my motorcycle to the shop. So I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden my fork is super soft. Like it almost feels like it's bottoming out. So I don't know if like the oil leaked out or what on my fork, but I got to bring that and get that fixed. 'Cause I got something coming up where I'm going to need to ride it for a little while. And then I want to take I want to get some engine guards put on the scooter as well, in case I were to lay it down. Goop package, the goop package you wanted. The Gwyneth said, no, John, I got the eggs. I got the vaginal eggs, the glass ones from Gwyneth. The same thing as they work great for guys as well. You just gotta lube them up before you put them in. Shoes all over. Yeah, the shoes are a mess today. I gotta take care of that. Good thing Patrick's not in the chat. He'd be calling me out on my shoe mess. Lace up Old Spice, have 7 kids. Life supply of Old Spice, right? Osito, Jib was making merit with her family. Her granny passed 50 days ago. And so in Thai culture, like 50 or 100 days, you make merit for your deceased family afterwards. So today's kind of like it's that day for them. They were already at the temple this morning, and now she's with her family having lunch. So just like hanging out with the family for the rest of the afternoon, chilling, and just enjoying memories of Granny. This is kind of like, whereas the ceremony itself is very somber, this is much more of a sort of celebratory day, like remembering Granny, remembering your loved ones who passed, and, kind of like enjoying those memories. My herring shot after 4 decades of metal shows. Motorhead finished them off. Yeah, I can imagine, man. Last show I went to in the States, it was a hip-hop show. I'm trying to remember who it was. But I had earplugs in, and my hearing's shot already. But my ears were still ringing after after the night with earplugs. It was a small concert show, not like a big. Looked like you were at a festival, John. Like it was outdoor and everything. So yeah, this one I went to was inside. I think we went to the Suka Soul family charity concert a few years ago. Last time they had it, 2019, and even though it was like all musical numbers and not quite as loud, it was in like a big ballroom. My ears were ringing after that. Jib actually wanted to sit further back because she didn't want to be so close to the stage because it was so loud. Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a nice thing. The making merit later on after the ceremony, because it gives you time to kind of get used to the idea of your loved one being gone, and then revisit it with your close family, and have that positive experience afterwards. So, yeah, I think it's really a nice way, and it's a positive way to go about it, as opposed to just kind of dealing with it all at once that one day and then kind of going off. It gives you like a little bit of final closure, which I think is nice. I like them to glass ones with rainbows. What? What do you like with glass? Did I miss something? Oh, you're talking about the Old Spice? What did you say? I took the SAT with my ears ringing from Slayer's show the night before. Yeah, I didn't go to a show before the SATs, but I did stay up all night with my buddy playing video games. Amphitheater, 18,000 people sold out. My son had plugs in, still hurt his ears. He looked at me and said, "It's making my teeth hurt." Yeah, that's when you know it's a good show. If your teeth hurt from the sound, that's good. Yeah, I think it's probably a very similar thing. It's a day to kind of get final closure, like revisit it when you've moved past the sadness and you're no longer somber. It's much more mellow, and it's a good time to sort of come together with family and just reflect and be happy. And like I said, even though like Jib's granny passing was sad, right? And like that day, like obviously Jib's mom and aunt were really emotional. Jib was very emotional because she had grown up with Granny and now she's gone. She was also 97 years old, and she had been in declining health for years since Jib and I have been together. So, she now in the most recent 4 years, she had developed mental issues and dementia. So while it's not, you never want someone to pass, it's a relief for Jib, for her mom, who was her granny's full-time caregiver. It's a big relief, and those things are important as well to consider, that there's a quality of life improvement all around, and that Granny is no longer suffering. So as hard as that first day was, this is the day to kind of get that closure and reflect on the positive memories. Had tickets for Whackin', but the situation canceled the festival now. That is a show, 3 days, 30 Wow. 3 days, 30 bands. Damn. My buddy Frank was just in Chicago to see Run the Jewels. Said it was a great show. Actually, I would love to see an RTJ show. That'd be awesome. We don't get a ton of concerts here in Bangkok, unfortunately. Not a ton of Western bands. Like big mega shows, Guns N' Roses, Bruno Mars, stuff like that will be they'll pack Impact out here. And, there'll be a secondary market for tickets because a lot of people bought them and buy them up quick. Dave Chappelle did a show here a few years ago. Ended up skipping it, but, a lot of people went to that. But yeah, there is definitely the big mega shows come through, but we don't get like the cool local shows that you used to get in the U.S. Patty was in the live stream today. I haven't chatted with him in a few days though. But yeah, he popped over to the live stream earlier to say hey. He's up north. I don't know if he got his second shot yet, so I think he's hanging around up north until he gets his second jab. I think he ended up going with, I think he was able to get Moderna. I'm not sure. Or maybe he got AstraZeneca also. But yeah, he ended up getting the first jab. I think he's just waiting on the second. You always canceled January. Yeah, Chappelle. Oh, that's right. Yours got rescheduled. Because Joe Rogan got himself some COVID. So is Rogan still going to be on that show, or is it just Chappelle now? That's a mega card for comedy. Having Rogan and Chappelle. Chappelle is, I think, in my opinion, Chappelle is like undisputed the greatest comic of our generation. Just like brilliant on, like in the same way that Carlin was and Pryor was. Like Chappelle's at that level. Same line, nice, just rescheduled. Not bad. Then you don't miss out on anything. Yeah, all because of Rogan had his COVID, and then he took like all the drugs. I don't even think we have ice here, Joe. I'll tell you, there's a Disneyland in Singapore, I think, or a Disneyland in Hong Kong. There's a Disneyland somewhere in Asia. I don't know if it's Singapore or Hong Kong, maybe Japan. I don't know if they have the ice show. Yeah, it's a goat of our time, for sure. Definitely on another level. I don't know if you saw the preview for his new special where he's driving the truck out in the Midwest. Yeah, I'll send it to you, John, after. It's so hilarious, though. I have a private tequila tour scheduled in 2 weeks. Ooh, Tequila Valley. Haven't been drinking at all, but it's more tasting, enjoying, and getting wasted. Taking girlfriend number 2. Nice. Good tequila. I didn't have good tequila until I was in my 30s. I always thought it was just this really rough alcohol. And one of my friends had like mezcals and tequilas that were really nice at his place. He was like, no, he's like, try some. And we had a bit. And man, it's like good tequilas, like up there with good bourbon. It's legit like tasting notes, and it's a very unique body and flavor. Quite interesting. I think that sounds like it's going to be a good time. I would put Rock and Bill Burr at Chappelle's level. Definitely up there. They're definitely in that top tier, Chris Rock and Bill Burr for sure. But I mean, to me, like they're not like I think Chappelle is like just above everyone. But I would definitely say Chris Rock, Bill Burr at that upper tier. But as far as like the insights, the nuance, the storytelling, I think no one pulls it together like Chappelle. Yeah, that might be the only place you find it is in beer. Even when they have beer in the cooler, they put it on ice. It's pretty offensive to beer. Damn it. Wrong side again, Joe? Was AC/DC in Toronto, 40 kilowatts of subs, ground shaking, and lots of topless women on people's shoulders. That sounds like a good time. HK and Japan. Okay. Is there one in Singapore, or is that universal? There's something in Singapore that I think it's maybe it's Universal or something like that, but there's a theme park in Singapore as well. my buddy Pac, if you guys remember the coffee video with Pac, who owns 50 Milk Street, 50 Hasip Soinom, which is, if you say it in Thai, it becomes really dirty apparently. But Pac owns 50 Milk Street, which is a coffee supply shop, and he proposed to his wife Fa at Disneyland in Japan. That's right, I remember that now. Yeah, they're both like huge Disney fanatics, and he proposed to her there. A very cute couple. MMA Justin Thornton died today from first round beating about a week or so. Today or yesterday? I thought I saw the news yesterday, but it might have even happened the day before. Yeah, I saw that. He fought in. Actually, I think the fight was over a month ago, Craig, if I remember. But it was bare knuckle boxing. He was sort of a. Unfortunately, he became kind of a squash match. And yeah, developed. He had a stroke and developed some other head injuries. So I was reading one of the breakdowns, and one of his doctors had said there was a combination of injuries: one from the head trauma he took in that fight, and two from the fall. So he actually fell down face first after the fight. And really, any death in sports is unfortunate, but combat sports, I mean, it's very difficult to think about that. You know, you're risking. You know, and one of the reasons I didn't compete professionally more than I did as a fighter is that it is a very real risk, and even if you get to the pinnacle of the sport and acquire millions and millions of dollars or billions like Floyd has. Oh, he's earned billions. I don't know. He maybe has only acquired millions. But still, like some of these athletes that have longer careers, successful careers, you could still end up like Muhammad Ali. You could still end up with diminished mental capacity that we don't understand how to fix. And we don't even really understand the full mechanism of CTE. So, whereas death is obviously horrible, like the long-term effects of a career in combat sports are even almost worse. You're living in a state that you have very little control over. Now, there have been some advances in the treatment of CTE-related injuries, like this high oxygen saturation and compression chambers and things like that. But like we still don't understand why they work completely. And there's different drug compounds that have been seen to work. But a lot of these guys who have been through wars in combat sports, like guys who are known for having these all-out battles in the cage, that's still you're putting an expiration on your mental well-being, most likely. Very few guys, get to very well past middle age without some type of sign of mental deterioration. And that's unfortunate. In MMA, I think it's a bit different, or it was at one point, that you could really negate a lot of the head trauma based on your style, much like Floyd does as a boxer. But the reality being that, it's entertainment and fans are paying to watch bangers, and boring styles don't sell fights, unfortunately. So guys who end up making it to that top level are the ones willing to engage in excessive head trauma to win a fight. And it's an unfortunate reality of the situation. I'll ice in my bear and go to Nana. Extra Anglo aged tequila can be like a good Japanese whiskey. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, when I had really good tequila for the first time, like I said, it changed my whole view on that genre of spirits. The actual fight was in August, so looks like hung in for a while. Yeah, I don't think it was a good few months for him though. Craig, it was rough one. Yeah, not surprised. Yeah, Universal in Singapore. No one can beat George Carlin. Carlin, I mean, in his era was the man and set the standard. I think paved the way for guys after him for sure. So Universal, George Carlin. I just found out that Japan has collegiate football, and those guys. Wait, what? Japan has collegiate football? Really? I don't have to. Like, football is in American football? Or football is in soccer? I mean, in Japan? Really? I'm going to look that up. When are you going to work out a coffee culture sponsorship deal? Someday. When the channel grows, maybe we'll get some sponsors. We'll see. You guys feel free to share the videos to help more people see it. We can grow, and I can get that coffee money. All the things we do for fun. Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. House Remuals of 14 going on Saturday. Oh. Where was I? MMA is brutal, especially for the women. Any combat sport is brutal. I'll say this: any sport with a high level of contact is brutal. Even football. I mean, you look at the cases of football players who have developed CTE. And there's a big argument to be made that the helmet and all the padding exacerbates that issue because they hit so much harder than, say, rugby, where there's no padding or equipment and they don't take one as much head trauma or two as hard of hits. The high kinetic hits in football you see are pretty wild. Now MMA, no doubt there's a brutality to the sport. Bare knuckle boxing as well. It's funny when bare knuckle boxing first became popular a few years ago. I made the argument that I thought there would be less head trauma in bare knuckle boxing because people would be afraid to break their hands. That has turned out to not be the case. That there's still people who throw a lot of punches to the head despite broken hands in that sport. And the real downside about it, in my opinion, is on top of the head trauma, you're seeing a lot more physical damage because you're getting bone-on-bone contact. Whereas in MMA or boxing, when you get hit with a glove, there's a layer there protecting like that bone-on-bone. So you don't get knuckle on forehead, which causes cuts and things like that. Which is why, if you remember Kenny Florian, who was a great MMA fighter, now an analyst, very technical guy, he was well known for his elbow strikes being able to cut people open. And, it's that bone-on-bone contact that does that. And that's one of the real unfortunate sides of bare-knuckle boxing is that, people get physical damage that can it can cause so much pain it masks other issues, unfortunately, or masks you from being able to articulate other issues. I got some of that TBI from my dad back in the day. Yeah, it's an unfortunate possibility in combat sports. Normally you pick yourself up, slap some Old Spice, and get back at it. Yeah. Yeah, Tommy Hearns, basically like Ali was his last year. It's very sad. Yeah, Gary Goodrich had a struggle with CTE-related issues as well, had a stroke. He's had some of that high saturation treatment that's worked well for him, but he's still not 100%. And Gary Goodrich was in some wars. I mean, he was one of my favorite fighters to watch back in the day, just because he was so wild. Not incredibly skilled, but wild. Or I should say, not that he wasn't skilled. He wasn't technical, but he was skilled. I want to use the right language there. Very skilled fighter. He fought at the Pride and UFC. He fought at the top levels. He just wasn't known for his technicality. But, it's an unfortunate reality of the sport. You're right. And it is one of the reasons that one of the reasons I don't ref anymore, one, I wasn't doing it enough. I haven't really talked about this a lot, so I'll talk about it here real quick. For years, I refed fights all over Asia. China, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines. Like I refed all over the region. And I refed a lot. And then when things slowed down, I wasn't reffing as much. And I was doing my podcast, and I thought two things. One, when I'm not reffing as frequently because shows were slowing down, the market was softening, and I didn't work with one championship. One, because we have philosophical differences, and two, they blacklisted me because I blasted them on a podcast for other stuff. And I think they're a great promotion. I don't want to put anything out there against them. From that perspective, they put on great fights. I think their officials and their judging are suspect a lot of the time, and that has to do with the fact that they employ the officials directly. And MD, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Idea Studio community. So yeah, I thought one championship they employ the officials directly, and I know that there's quite a bit of influence they have over them. So I have issue with that. But I knew I was never going to work for them, even if they offered. I had worked for them one time, and it was a non-enjoyable experience. So I never did again. But ultimately, what I was going to say is that I wasn't reffing enough that I felt that I was still sharp and that I would need an adjustment period if I came back. And two, one of the last fights I reffed was absolutely brutal. And when you ref, obviously the safety of the fighter is your primary concern, but you have to keep in mind that there's a rule set to the promotion. And there's certain things that you have to follow. And the fight was really one-sided, but not to the point where I could have stopped it legitimately as the referee. And it was just a tough fighter who couldn't be finished, and that was a thing that I struggled seeing. I also saw I didn't ref this other fight, but I was cage side for a fight where a fighter took a lot of head trauma and ended up having to be hospitalized after the fight. And so things like that really had me start to question my involvement in the sport as an official, which was part of the reason I decided to step away. And even when I've been offered opportunities to ref since then, for not crazy money, but decent money and travel and stuff like that, I've said no for that very reason. And even to promoters who I know who are on the up and up and they do things well, they do things properly. One, I haven't refed in years now, so I don't feel comfortable to get back there and do it at a high level. And two, there's this struggle I have internally with, the being able to enforce the rules of the fight, but also have fighter safety in mind and where I draw that line. So for me, I would always err on trying to stop a fight at the right moment, but I'd rather stop it early than stop it late. And so a lot of things in my head to struggle with over that. And so I just preferred to do analysis and have opinion and do my podcast. But it is a very complex issue to be involved in that sport. And as someone who was a professional fighter previously, I look at it through those eyes as well. Like if I was fighting, if I was getting beat, I wouldn't want you to stop it unless I was done. Right? But you have to understand the position of everyone involved, and fighter safety is paramount. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on about NBA, but yeah, it is tragic when a fighter dies. And Greg, who's in the chat, Magan, he's very involved in MMA still. Me and his brother trained together 20 years ago. We fought on the same cards, and it's an incredible sport, but it's also one that has a dark side to it that is unfortunate. Yeah, no, I agree. And that guy who passed away, I think he was 8 and 16, Greg. There should be a point where a promoter should be able to tell someone like, hey, this maybe isn't for you. Like, especially if someone's like 0 and 3, 0 and 4, like, it's unfortunate when you see those records, like people who rack up a number of losses or like 3 knockout losses and they're 0 and 3. Like, you should not do this. And it's unfortunate that a lot of promoters won't say that to a fighter. They'll use them as a can to get crushed by someone else. And that's also an unfortunate reality, the dark side of the game. So, yeah. The only MMA I ever got was when my dad took his 2-inch black leather belt to my ass for doing something. Yeah, I had those experiences as well, MD. Yeah, those are definitely toughening up experiences. Oh, Cedar, I played QB in high school, had at least 3 concussions, but back then they didn't really test for it, and I know of at least 2 games that I finished and don't remember much. I still get headaches randomly. Yeah. I played, I was a defensive line in high school for a little bit. I played rugby. I probably had countless concussions in high school as well. And, the helmets definitely help to some degree protect you, but yeah, they're hard hits, man. And, if you make your career around something that causes you to get concussed, there are going to be prices to pay. I mean, Junior Seau's suicide, shooting himself in the chest, allowing his brain to be studied is one of those things that, shines a light on the realities of CTE in older men, in older combat athletes, men and women. Especially with women's MMA being so prominent now, and some of these women just absolutely go to war. I feel, we'll see kind of a wave of CTE in the next 20 years in women that we probably haven't experienced yet because of the lack of women in these high contact sports. You're right, Greg. They should, and a lot of them do, and they don't care. That's the reality. A lot of promoters just don't care. I mean, even at the highest levels in Asia, one championship has a lot of fighters with lopsided records who they use as cans. I mean, Egyptian top team was known for a long time for just guys that were going to bring in and get pounded. It's just the way it is, man. And it's stupid, and it's unfortunate, it's unethical, and it happens. And that's really part of the dark side of that sport. Muay Thai as well. Like, there are guys in Muay Thai with 400 fights under their belt. And Muay Thai, in my opinion, is far more physically brutal than MMA could ever be. And there are guys who fight from the age of 10, and they rack up 400 fights by their 30s, fighting once, twice, 3 times a week sometimes, zero recovery, and it's just part of the game. But when you're on the international stage, for a promoter to put someone forward who has a horrible record with more losses than wins and use them as a can is just unethical in so many ways. I remember there was a guy who fought locally in New England back when I was fighting. At the time, he was like 4 and 19. And I remember I was going through Sherdog a few years ago. He was still fighting as recently as 2018. And I think he was up to like 12 and 45 or something. Ridiculous. And he would fight title fights, like uncontested titles, like where they're basically putting him in to fight a guy to give him a belt. Horrible. Full America. Wow, Japan, full America. I'm going to check that out, MD. Japanese collegiate football. That sounds wild. Sammy Ayers, maybe why I talk about it. What about steroids, etc.? Steroids are a different thing altogether. I mean, steroids in sports happens, and I would make an argument that steroids, maybe this is a tough one to make, but steroids are actually a very positive thing for athletes who need to recover. That's where a lot of guys who have generally competed clean end up popping hot, is they take steroids not to necessarily look better or whatever, but if you're an athlete, you're taking it to recover from an injury, and that's how a lot of guys get started with it, and they see the performance benefits. I think it'd be easy to make an argument that you could potentially have athletes regulated on some type of performance enhancer and let that be legal. But again, if you're taking steroids in a combat sport and you're fighting against someone who's not, you have a very dangerous advantage. Or Onyx coffee from Kentucky? I have not, but if it's from Kentucky, same place bourbon's from, I think that's something I should know about. All pro football sports in Oz now have mandatory head scans after taking hits. If not accidental, the other guy is booted. Wow, that's good. That's good. I know there have been a few cases in the U.S. where fighters have been denied licenses to fight because they failed a CT scan, or they had a CT scan with abnormalities, which I think is a step in the right direction. Medieval times jousting, no, that's a brutal sport. Taking one in the chest, bam, definitely. Even like the fake jousting at like the Renaissance Fair looks brutal, and people get hurt and killed doing that. So imagine when it was the real deal. Check out Japan's live Bamboon Dare Cat park channels as well as the Pen 15 park. Japan is a unique place. Jim and I were supposed to go to Japan in 2020. It didn't happen for obvious reasons. We couldn't travel. But it's definitely on the list for 2022 as something we intend to do, because it's definitely something that we want to see. And there's actually some fabric markets we want to visit, some craft shops. But I want to experience some other parts of Japan as well. I've had an affinity for their culture for a while. I know John Poe, if he's still in the chat, he's been numerous times. He really loves it there. I have friends who have lived there who really enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. Enjoying the show, so I subbed. How about that? Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. Very much. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you for subbing. It means a lot to me. Again, it's a community, and usually Jib is here with me on the live streams. Unfortunately, like I said, she's making merit today for her granny, so not here. Actually, at the last episode 2, where we're on the roof of that shrine, we didn't include this in the video, but Jib did the whole make merit thing there, and went through the 8 steps, and then afterwards we that temple, that shrine, it's not a temple, it's a shrine. They have a program where if you're in financial need and you have a family member pass, they accept donations to cover the cost of funerals for people in the community. So we donated to cover the cost of a few funerals for people. It provides the casket and the services, the cremation, all of those things, which it's relatively cheap. In America, funerals are thousands and thousands of dollars. Here, I mean, a donation of less than 1,000 baht covers the entire funeral cost for a family and allows the shrine to provide that service to the community. So, after when we came down from the roof and everything, Jib was like, "Oh, we should put a few hundred baht in the thing." I was like, "Oh, let's actually do the whole cover the cost of a few funerals for people and put that out there for just to one, to say thank you to the shrine for letting us go up to the roof of their not finished building and film, but also like they were so nice to us. They guided Jib around. They showed the whole they showed the whole thing. So, and gave Jib the guided tour of how to make merit and do the prayers. So it was just a kind of a thank you, a way to reciprocate for what they did for us. But yeah, imagine in America, a casket's thousands of dollars. And here, less than $30, you can cover a casket and a cremation. Pretty wild. Oz rules football. Watch a guy get his nose broken, ran on the side. Doc popped in place. If you guys ever watch Ozzy Man, where he was reviewing, Ozzy Man's a fantastic comedy channel, but he always makes fun of soccer players for like the way they flop. And then he was comparing it to a video of women's, I think it was women's rugby. The girl dislocated her knee and punched it back into place. And it was like right after he showed a clip of a guy who got flicked in the air and then flopped on the ground in pain. Hey, Token Nomad, man. How are you? I haven't been on the chat for a while. How's things, man? My nephew's hockey career was cut short due to concussions. He was pretty good and could have played D1 college easily. Now he's actually teaching hockey in Oz. Who knew they even had hockey there? Yeah, one, that's at least he's okay now. But two, yeah, for sure, the concussions are a big deal. Oz, Australia. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Yeah, no, I say Oz all the time. So I call Australia Oz for the very same reason. I don't want to. One, I don't want to accidentally misspell it as Austria and then the Mac not catch it because I spelled Austria right. And then we call that aerial ping pong here. Rugby league and union are train smashes, but same thing. Stop the blood and get back in. Old Spice, absolutely, John. They are Old Spice men. Been hanging out in Thurbo watching the snow showers, token nomad in North Texas. North Texas, nice. What do you think of Elon Musk looking to build a city, not just a town? He wants to build a city outside of Austin. Yeah, you always see those guys with the headbandages. When I played rugby in high school, one of the guys burst his ear open. He had cauliflower ear, and it burst. And he just taped it up and kept playing. Dealt with shady promotions in Japan and Mexico. The early days MMA were some... Yeah, honestly, man, even today is some dark days, unfortunately. Greg knows, even some of the promoters around Asia, some are great. Some are fantastic. Some not so much. What I love now, though, is IMAF. They're really developing an amateur development league for fighters worldwide. So I think we'll see and they have rules that limit head trauma. So I think we'll see people be much more skilled and well-rounded by the time they get to a professional career. And I think I'm hoping it leads to styles that are more technical and less brawler. So I watched them in the early 80s on ESPN. They couldn't show American Major League sports, so they showed stuff like that. Yeah, I started watching rugby in the 90s, and there was very few places you could actually watch it. A lot of times I had to get videotapes. Let's see if I can catch up here. Yeah, Muay Thai, true sport. Muay Thai is brutal. Beautiful sport, when executed at the highest level, absolutely beautiful to watch. When not, it's pretty horrible and scary to watch. Which occasion was broadcast here much, unless it's championship game. John fought in Japan. I can't believe the guy they put me up against in Japan. The no weight limit rule was real. You would fight a sumo who weighed 400. Next round, fight a guy 180. Yeah, they still do. They love those freak show fights. Even Ryzen today loves those freak show fights. And the Japanese fans love them. So that's why they keep doing them. But I'm sure you remember the old Pride days where people, they have Genki Sudo versus Akibono. It's 150 pounds versus 450. 3 to 5 times a year. That's a lot. There's a lot of travel, dude. From the U.S., from the middle of the U.S., too. Ooh. You ever get one of those crazy flights where you have to fly from the Midwest to Atlanta and then Atlanta to Japan? That's horrible. When I moved out to Thailand, that was my route. I tried to book something else. I just couldn't get it. And I had the 19 hours Atlanta to Tokyo, to Narita. Joe's going to get the edibles. BRB near snack. He's going to get his edible brownies. Oh, my neighbors are back. Parking their scooter in the street again. I don't get these people, man. We live on not even a soy. We live on what's known as a yak. So it's a little street off of a soy. And, it's not narrow, but it's really just one-way traffic is comfortable. And at the very end of this yak is a gate, goes into a family compound. It has like 4 or 5 houses on it. They actually own a van service. So right now they're not running, but they still drive in and out. Like they still have like their cars and stuff. And these neighbors across the street from me, because the yak is really only good for one-way traffic, I don't understand why they think it's okay to park like just in the middle of the road. And actually we put trees in front of our house so people would stop parking like right against our wall. And like one of the previous neighbors, they would park like their pickup truck like, half blocking our gate. So we put the trees up, one, because they're nice, and two, to stop that. And our the guy he already moved out, he would park his motorcycle right against our trees. And he parked his scooter there one day. And so I just went and I picked his scooter up and I carried it over to his driveway and dropped it. And I was like, stop parking in front of my trees. We've had this conversation twice. He's like, oh, it doesn't hurt your trees. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it hurts it. I'm telling you not to. And next time I won't be so nice as to actually carry it over. I'll throw it. And he never did again. So that worked. But it is a bit annoying. Those 2 houses, for whatever reason, always end up being annoying to the whole street. Bare knuckle, I mean, it looks great. Bare knuckle fighting looks great. It's just incredibly brutal. My friend Javier, he won the Full Metal Dojo middleweight championship, and then he went to London and fought. He got to fight at the O2 for the some bare knuckle promotions championship. He ended up losing because they stopped it on a cut. Again, it's so much physical damage. That's one of the things that really worries me about bare knuckle is the level of physical damage. And again, I really thought that people would punch softer with bare knuckle because there's no hand protection. In reality, it seems people don't care and they just want to bang. And it's unfortunate. And again, we just said the death that just happened is really unfortunate and makes you think about, the cost that some athletes are willing to pay. A cost I wasn't, again, which I only fought, for a few years professionally and decided it wasn't for me. Either Chicago or Toronto. Oh, you can fly out of Chicago. That's right. Oh, you lucky SOB. 12 hours from Shy, 14 from Toronto. That's a good flight. Chicago is a kind of a weird airport, but not horrible. There's worse. Atlanta's a bit too busy. Pre-Asia was doing pre-COVID was doing Asia, mostly Philippines for work 4 times a year. I love traveling no matter how long the flights are. I do miss going through Narita though. So when I was producing my show in Malaysia, I produced and hosted a show for a network in Malaysia. And there was a really rough travel schedule for me. So I would travel every month for a week to a different country to record episodes. And I'd meet my producer, my field producer in country. And she would have everything set up and ready to go and everything scheduled. And I would have all the research done. So I'd just go in and do it. But we would spend 5 to 7 days recording in whatever country we're in. Then I would fly back to KL and work with the engineers and the editors for a week and do whatever live events the network booked me for in KL, and then fly back to Bangkok and have 2 weeks off. But that that level of travel was incredibly taxing for me. I did, like, I enjoyed the places I went, like, a lot. Like, it was a lot of fun. And obviously, when you control the show, and like I was the host and I was the executive producer, so that was fun. But when it's like when you're just constantly traveling and like on the road, living out of a suitcase. One of the things that made it at least decent was I had a place in KL, like that I would always rent the same service apartment while I was there, and it was just like a kind of a comfortable place, and I could walk to the studio in the office every day. And they had the rideshare bikes there, so I'd always rent a bike, and it was like downhill the whole way, so just ride home. But yeah, it was. It's. Travel's fun, but it definitely, like, that frequent, like doing it twice a month, like 4 flights a month essentially was a lot. 4 international flights a month. So I'd leave Bangkok, fly somewhere, fly to KL, fly back to Bangkok. It was a lot. Yeah, I know you were almost ready to come and do quarantine, John. That's how bad you wanted to come. Elon Musk, we, the USA, are now developing a space military program, recruiting now. Better go back to Boy Scout training and how to live basics, how to make fire. Need I say more? Yeah, I saw the uniforms for Space Force. Different, shall I say. Should I put your Google house up? So I've been bouncing off the wall, dying to get back on a 12-hour flight. I mean, I guess like 4 times a year. Yeah, it's a lot, right? But it's not bad. Like 4 international flights or 3 international flights every month. That was a lot. Too much for me. I have a friend who's a management consultant in the U.S. He flies just domestically, but every week. Like Monday he flies to a job, Friday he flies home. Monday he flies to a job, Friday he flies home. Now that's a lot of travel and a lot of living out of hotels. He's racking up those miles though. Can't get direct flight to Thailand. Best I have had is either layover in Tokyo, no argument, or Singapore, again, no argument. But it's like, yeah, no, they used to have a direct LAX to Suvarnabhumi, but that is no longer an active route. It hasn't been for years. Has not been an active route, at least since I lived here. My neighbor vandalized my car with a screen because I called 311 baby scratches, but the entire call, I love my neighbor. 311. 311 the band? I think we've had a new metal conversation on the live chat before. I can take it or leave it. Some of them are better than others. Slipknot, not so bad. Limp Bizkit, not so great. Time here is just past noon. How about there? What are you guys at midnight? I'm trying to put together an episode on how I travel and save big cash doing it. Hey, any way you can save cash traveling is a positive, my friend. Oh, Rich Mac, what's up, man? Thank you, dude. Appreciate the super chat. Every bit helps, especially with the new BTS episodes. Helps offset the cost. Thank you, sir. You getting ready to move to Middle East, right? Actually, talk about someone. We were talking about MMA before. Someone still involved very much with the sport is Rich Mac, one of the best cut men in the game. And great hand rapper as well. So any young fighters out there need a cut man and someone to wrap your hands, that's the guy. Yeah, from Fairbanks. Yeah, you're in town getting ready to go. Right now the layovers will suck with the lockdowns, otherwise 10 to 20 hours in Tokyo. Singapore is a mini vacation. The Singapore airport, Changi Airport's a mini vacation, man. 1 a.m. here, yeah. Dubai. Yeah, Facebook, Rich Mac. Yeah, if you guys want to follow someone who's really active in the game and does some cool stuff, Rich Mac's the guy. When he's not living out of his off grid cabin in Alaska. Actually, I remember when you first started, man. You learned the game really quick, but I mean, you were a corpsman in the Navy, right? So like, just that knowledge all transferred right over, and like quickly in Asia became like the top cut man, top hand wrapper. I mean, which there wasn't really too many good cut men in Asia either, so it was like wide open. And then next thing you know, Rich is the number one guy. And definitely in Asia, it's needed because a lot of dudes bleed here. For some reason, a lot of Asian promotions won't let a fighter bleed profusely. Whereas in like the U.S., it's much more common if it's not a threatening cut. Like if it's not above an eye and it's not leaking into an eye, it's not uncommon for a promotion to let it go. For a ref in the U.S. to let it go. Refs here will stop a fight just for a cut that's not impacting the vision. And I always found that super annoying. Olivier Coss, who's a referee for one championship, I know Olivier, and unfortunately I think he's a horrible ref. He will stop a fight to have a doctor check a cut that's on like the side of the head. And I think that's ridiculous. But, you know, it's probably coming down from one saying they don't want blood on screen. It's the same reason they don't show injured fighters being looked at after a fight. You know, sensitivity in the market. But still, I think it's a horrible call. It breaks the rhythm of a fight. Yeah, that's right. You wrapped my hands at FMD6. I remember that. FMD6 or FMD4? This is when I had a very fun fight with my friend John. But it was one of the FMDs. What's your profile pic? Like 10 Rich Max? Facebook page says Cutman and sub photo of me wrapping hands. Was it itinerary summary, round trip, first class, Tampa, Phuket, total price $9,000? What? Damn. $9,000. First class from Tampa to Phuket. That's wild. Must be a hell of a first class, though. It says PM plus 2, Wireless, Air Swiss, Bangkok Airways. So does it say where the first stop is? Oh, Tampa to HKT2. HKT, 2 stops. ZRH and BKK. Where's ZRH? It's in Europe somewhere, I guess. Blood thing is crazy. Yet when I did pro wrestling in Japan, it was literal bloodbath, and so Japan doesn't mind the blood so much. It seems to be more the Southeast Asian TV censorship. Is that they don't want people bleeding on TV. Like even I remember I reffed an event called Rock Wars. Actually, Rich, were you there for that in Phuket? Was that the one that we were at with Tammy? Was Rock Wars at that club, the Mike Swick thing? I think you... I don't remember if you were there. No, it wasn't... Was that the one? Oh, it's Zurich. Okay. I know we worked a show in Phuket together, in Pattaya together. I don't remember if it was Rock Wars in Pattaya that we worked or it was another one at Boxing World. But yeah, it was even for that one, they told us because it was on live, I think Channel 7, they told us if it was excessive blood to have the doctor clean it. Yeah, Rock War. Remember the guy Actually, I've told this part of this story before, but that night we walked Tammy back to her hotel. After the weigh-ins, because she stayed at Fairtex, which is baller, and they had us at some family place, supposed family place. But do you remember we were walking by the beach and the cops were like giving a hard time to the guys fishing, but there was like some dude getting a BJ on the bench and they didn't even care. Oh, Pattaya is a very, very crazy place. But yeah, it's funny, like Tammy, we walked her back to her hotel and Tammy's like, she could handle herself. I think she's a brown belt now in BJJ, but it was cool just to check out Fairtex. The bellhops, the staff at Fairtex, they wear like a dress shirt but with Muay Thai shorts. It's kind of cool. My first pro show in Japan was one of the Tokyo Death matches. Absolutely insane. Still have scars from it. Nice. Actually, I remember one of the other things about Rock Wars. I remember the cage was falling apart, and those cages, they're just plywood with a layer of foam over them, and the canvas stretched over that. And I was reffing the Top Noi fight, and I stepped. Top Noi, Top Noi is a pro fighter from Thailand, from Tiger Muay Thai, and I think he's a lightweight or bantamweight. He's super fast, and he was moving so quick. I remember stepping back and my foot breaking the plywood on the floor, and like everyone heard it crack. And even Top Noi looked at me like it was a rough cage. I remember Phuket on Christmas working and watching all the things unfold. Sad day, blessing. Yeah, that was 2004. That was before I was out here, but yeah, a very well remembered event in Thailand. It's still a painful one for Thailand. 2-hour, 10-minute layover in Bangkok. Right now, from what I've seen of the Bangkok airport, like they move you right through. If you're connecting to Phuket, there's like a whole process. Damn, I won my War A orders. Now you're that good. Ignoring my 1A auditors? Huh? What happened? Did I miss something? Ignoring my 1A auditors now. Oh, you're talking about my live stream. Okay. Appreciate it. I just say love Swiss Alps on the layover. Can you see the Alps from that airport? Am I an ATV big boy? Like, you talking about like the quad? Do I like riding quads? I've ridden quads. I prefer a motorcycle or a dirt bike over a quad. I'd rather ride. My first choice, if I have to pick a vehicle, is scooter. 125 to 155 cc scooter, perfect. Power wise and something small, manual transmission, ideal for me. But as far as like an ATV, if I'm gonna go off road, I'd rather have a dirt bike than a 4-wheeler. Same in Tokyo, rock solid ring floor. Then they took the ropes down and hung the barbed wire. Oh God, I've seen the barbed wire matches, man. I watched a video the other day of these guys made a barbed wire trampoline. That was insane. And then one of the guys' hair got stuck in it. Ugh. Too much drama coming to BKK now. I'm waiting for December. Probably. I was talking earlier, Rich. The December looks good because we've had 3 days in a row below 10,000 cases, new cases reported. Our current vaccination rates are climbing rapidly, and on top of it, what I think is going to happen is I don't think Bangkok's going to get a sandbox option. It's just too transient. too transient for that. So what I think is going to happen is we'll go straight from this like pseudo lockdown we're still in to full open tourism in Bangkok when we surpass 70% vaccinations total. The new case reports are super low, and our deaths are back to like almost nothing. So the hospitals are not overwhelmed. As long as the hospitals are overwhelmed, we had just over 100 new deaths today. So that's what I'm concerned about is the hospital overwhelm and the death rate. With the vaccination rates going high, new infections are important to still count, but I don't think they're the main metric anymore. So one of the things I think that we need to keep an eye on. Oh, my neighbors are back arguing again. First Amendment orders. Okay, Bill of Rights USA. They do things to the government. Yeah, no, actually, I watched some of the First Amendment orders on YouTube. I think they're interesting. There's one channel I like to watch called Audit the Audit, where he looks at First Amendment orders and breaks down their approach and breaks down their, he rates the auditor and the police. It's some of them are. That's a weird thing. I like it. I think it's cool, and I think the same. I'm not a huge gun guy. I don't mind to own guns. I'm 100% for the Second Amendment, and I think people who push those limits are important. Same thing with the First Amendment. More so with the First Amendment. There's a reason it's first, right? You have to challenge all those things in order. Someone has to challenge it in order for the checks and balances to be in place. But yeah, I like that. I like that channel, Audit the Audit. Oh man, you were on a show with Mick? Damn, that's awesome. Mick's a legend. Now talk about a guy with CTE. I'm sure he's surprisingly lucid for a guy who's taken as much damage as he has, and he's surprisingly mobile for a guy who's taken as much damage as he has. How are they going to vaccinate that island off India? The inhabitants will. Yeah, they won't vaccinate it. But also, there's a reason now that the Indian Navy enforces the blockade there more strongly. One of us visiting them could easily wipe out that entire population, COVID or not. Right? They're not vaccinated for anything. So they have to be their own ecosystem. They're immune naturally to the things that they have around them to a certain extent. But if COVID ever got there, it would wipe out that entire population like within a month. Same thing with, they're an island, so they're isolated from a lot of the stuff that we get spread here on the mainland. But that's really the biggest danger to them is viruses or bacteria that could be introduced to their environment. So I think that's a big part of why they don't want to be contacted. They made that clear because they kill anyone who goes there. And, so the Indian government just respects that they don't want to be contacted. And it would be dangerous to their population if we were to go there and completely wipe them out with some type of disease. That would be bad. Maybe someday, centuries from now, they want to be contacted. They want to make contact with mainland. But there would have to be like quarantine protocols, all types of stuff that are put into place before that could happen. Because we could have a strain of the common cold that's like nothing to us. It would wipe out their entire population. The statistics don't warrant an earlier. No, yeah, I wouldn't come right now. If you had to travel here right now, I wouldn't do it. Again, I think December, maybe January. Like, we'll go from, I don't think we'll do a sandbox. Like I said, it doesn't make sense just given the ease at which someone could leave Bangkok. Phuket, Samui, Penang, they make sense, right? It's easy to control movement because it's an island. You can't go back and forth. That makes sense. In regards to like just opening up. It's just a vaccination level at this point. Elaborate on the scooter. Will you take in Dreamy as a hand-me-down? Keepsake from Patty. Dreamy's a rough one. I like that style of bike, though. So the Honda Dream is essentially a Honda Wave or a Super Cub. It's all the same underbone frame. An underbone is for a scooter is my favorite style. I like the underbone style of scooter very much, as opposed to like a step through. It's just a more comfortable way to ride, and I feel it gives slightly better control. It's closer to the mechanics of an actual motorcycle, because the steering tube's connected to the rest of the body, whereas a step through scooter, you have a plate underneath, and it's slightly different. That's my preference. But yeah, Dreamy's an underbone. It's the same. The Honda Cub is the best-selling vehicle ever made, like over 100 million sold. And essentially the Wave and the Dream are that bike, just a cheaper version. I think the Dream was a special edition of the Wave, and it sort of predated it. But yeah, great bike, and it has that centrifugal clutch, which I'm not the hugest fan of, but I'd much rather have a centrifugal clutch than no clutch, than not be able to control the gears. I find it much safer to drive when you can control what gear you're in. And Honda has that 4-speed transmission. It's the same range. My MSX has a 4-speed manual. That 4-speed range is perfect for the city. 6 is too many gears for the city. The ranges are too tight at the low end. 4 is perfect. Audit the Audit. Yeah, it's a great channel. I like that one a lot. Very technical. Very good breakdowns. You ever see the one where the cops pulled over an Uber driver who was an attorney? And they're like, oh, you're an attorney, but you drive Uber? He's like, yeah, student debt. I'm so broken I didn't take anywhere near the... Yeah, right? Mick, I mean, we all know the Hell in the Cell story, right? Or the cage match story, but just his whole career was those moments. Like every match up until like his WWE run was just brutality. And the fact that he can walk blows me away. I know, but traveling nomad in Russia and Africa is part of the population that has existed. It'll be hard to find them. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, true. There's the nomadic populations in Africa, Russia. Those will be the outliers. Those will be the tough ones. And I think Russia might be a little easier because their nomadic population's pretty, like those areas are still, they still have cities and towns and stuff. Whereas like the nomads in like Northern Africa, they could go years without going into a town or a city. So quite different from I think the Russian nomads. At least there's cities in Siberia they can visit or towns they can pop into. And it's cold enough in parts of Siberia, they probably keep the vaccine without refrigeration. I can't because of the new job, but getting things planned for the trip, hopefully before year's end. Yeah, I was wondering about it. Are you still going to plan to do the trip, or are you going to wait until there's no quarantine or no sandbox so you're not burning time in one location? Yo, Mojo, please look at your phone. I always know it's good when Joe's got to post it up in the comments to check the phone. I'm holding the sign. Ashley Lynn lied and destroyed the family. Oh, I remember you sent me this before. So, a famous WWE thing. Joe says he's the one holding the sign. That's awesome. Now, I've been to WWE shows a bunch. I love their production. Some of the best in the world. But yeah, they're so cool. They actually, I didn't realize this until I was older. I went to some shows in Cleveland when we had the suite, and you could actually, they give you the material to make the signs as you walk in. They'll let you write whatever you want. You can bring your own. They don't care. But they have like poster board and like markers. You can make signs right there. They'll help you. That was pretty cool. Easy fix for the off-limits Indian island. Chris Columbus bridged other countries with money and alcohol. I don't know. So this is actually interesting. So one, their society doesn't have currency. And two, alcohol could be, or they don't have a currency that we know about, right? I don't know. Maybe they have something domestically, but like all indications from what I've read about that island in the Indian Ocean is that they don't have any type of currency. They're very communal. Now, one of the interesting things about alcohol, though, and you see this in the Native American populations, especially up in Alaska, where they would just drop alcohol off the ships to the Inuits. The reason alcoholism is so prevalent in those communities is that they don't have the genetic predisposition to digest alcohol the same way Westerners do, because they split off from the other parts of humanity before alcohol was invented. So, fermentation obviously existed, but they weren't fermenting to make alcohol, like fermentation for foods and stuff. So they never developed the enzymes and the genetic possibility to digest alcohol, which is actually a very similar reason a lot of Asians, specifically East and Southeast Asians, lack the ability to digest alcohol and have a reaction to it. A lot of them will refer to it as the Asian flush, where they turn like red after just one drink. And so in Native American populations, that's much more extreme, and that's why part of the reason alcoholism becomes so prevalent when they become so predisposed to it. So we don't even know that local population could actually digest alcohol, and if you were to introduce alcohol to that community, it may very well be something that destroys them within a generation or two. Entirely possible. Something that we don't know enough about. It was one of the really interesting things about evolution. Like we have these features that sort of prove evolution when you look at humanity. And, I'm not a huge Columbus fan. I think he was a scumbag, historically when you look at it. But, and I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson make this argument. What he did actually when he crossed the ocean was recombine the human race. Up until that point, we had two completely separate evolutions of Native Americans, natives to the Americas, and Europeans, Asians had all kind of, developed along a different path. And so when he actually, made it to the Caribbean, he never made it to America, but he recombined those two evolutionary branches, which is an interesting way to look at it. And things like, the ability to digest alcohol, the prevalence of lactose intolerance globally, but certain areas having a higher threshold for lactose tolerance. These are sort of like little evolutionary interesting things. So it would be incredibly interesting to see what genetic features an island like this has and doesn't. Since, as far as I know, this is the most isolated community that exists today. A lot of the Amazon tribes are actually tracked by various governments. There are obviously some they don't know about that could be more isolated, but they might interact with each other, whereas this particular tribe interacts with no one. I've absolutely decided to act as thanks. Oh, awesome. Thank you. I plan on buying a Vespa when I get there. I've always wanted the old school one, so I figure it's a good excuse. They're awesome bikes, dude. Vespa's completely epic bike. incredibly expensive here, incredibly difficult to have worked on here. Like, it takes months to get parts sometimes. That's the downside. But if you got one of the new ones, I mean, probably go quite a while without it breaking. They're fantastically built machines. But if you want an old one, I would say as long as it's not your primary whip, like if you got a scooter as your primary, or at least as a second primary, you'd probably be good to go. But I have a friend who has a newer one, and I forget what broke on his, but it took 3 months to get the part, and then it was like another month of them working on it. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. The Vespas are dope looking though. They're classic look. And actually, if you go to the fabric districts in Chinatown or like Sumpang, those areas, all of the delivery guys have old school Vespas, and they side mount like bolts of fabric and drive around, or they have big baskets on the back filled with flowers. I always think that's one of the coolest things to see. I get you. I get this sometimes too. Sometimes I look at my typos and I'm just like, how did I miss that? Part of Florida also. I think Phuket is going to do visa on arrival soon. Yeah, probably not far from it. I would imagine like they're looking. They want that program to do better, Greg. So they've got to take the next step. And I think what they're going to do is like if you're fully vaxxed, visa on arrival. Yeah, no, I think if you can hold off until after November, you might be able to get no sandbox. I want it via buy a broken, fix yourself. That's one of the ways to do it. Like buy an old. My buddy's right now rebuilding a Kawasaki GTO 125. I think it's like 35 years old. Beautiful bike, and costs like nothing to redo. He's absolutely loving it. He's having a great time rebuilding it, but he's definitely struggling with some of the issues on it. I took the thing away from my wife. Piss off. I'm not a fixer, not mechanically inclined. I'd rather just spend the money I have, more time to explore it. Yeah, so buy a new one. Buy a new one then. You'll be fine. Just buy a new one, get it maintenanced. You're good to go. Like I said, the only thing is like a Vespa you have to bring to the Vespa dealership, and they will order the parts. The upside to the Hondas, like I can have my Honda worked on at any Samchai on the corner, like who has a motorcycle repair shop. I roll my Honda in and be like, fix, and they're like, okay. And that's why if you guys follow Patty, the same way like he's riding around like middle of nowhere Bangkok right now, or middle of nowhere Thailand, he can bring his Honda Dream even though it's 30 years old, and they'll wrench on it and fix it. So that's the upside to a Honda specifically, more than any other bike in Thailand, is the ability to get it wrenched on anywhere just about. So that's a plus. But Vespa's a beautiful machine, man. I can't argue against it, especially if that's your jam. Go for it. I can donate. I have a lot of piss. All that coffee you're drinking for sure. Andy Stubbs, Laocow must be selling strong. I've had Laocow. It's not great, but yeah, people do love it. I was in 7-Eleven the other day. Some guy bought like 6 bottles of it. Ugh. I had it once up at a Hill Tribe. It was a bit strong for my liking. A bit fermented flavor too. My mom lives in Anchorage. She left the grill wood for a panning season to pan gold. Weird men panning downstream. Foggy, snowy bears not having fun. Yeah, a lot of bear action up in Alaska, right? Rich Mac lives out in the cabin there. Rich, you said you see bears sometimes, right? Oh, he's right here. Money and alcohol, continuation. The government up here limited the Alaskan native hunting ability, so the jobless natives turned to drugs. It's an unfortunate reality. Unfortunate reality. Viking in the Northeast 300 years before. Yeah. Leif Erikson, right, is the name of the guy who they suspect really was the first Westerner. Easterner, right? First European. Some indigenous Americans had alcoholic drinks like the Aztecs had. Pulic way before Columbus. Oh, so stuck. Okay, you're the source on that information. So I'm gonna listen to you on that. So the Aztecs did indigenous American. So how about like North American indigenous communities? Because I remember reading a paper. It was from a Midwestern university about the genetic markers in Native American communities that made it difficult for them to consume alcohol. So are you talking about like specific, like Aztecs were, I mean, it was all the Americas, right? But they were like further south. They didn't really, and they were like an empire as well, right? So they didn't really intermingle with northern indigenous peoples, did they? My mom never tells me. I'm so sick of toxic rat race. My dream is to move up Thailand for good. Yeah, Denton. That's why I'm here, man. I was an engineer in the States. We have the trailer video on my channel kind of talks about it, but I had gotten my dream job as a telecom engineer. I worked on the back end of the internet, which is what I always wanted to do, and I hated it. And I have a master's in engineering. I quit my job, sold my house, moved to Asia. And there is opportunity here in Thailand to live the life that you can make for yourself. It's still hard work, but you're not working for a boss that's an idiot. You don't have the drone of colleagues in the same way. I mean, there's opportunity to do what you want, man. Again, like I said, it's still hard work. Nothing's free. No one's going to give it to you, but it's a much more enjoyable way to go after it, to get after it, for sure. So my holy advice is do it. Absolutely do it, man. Hey, have a good one, John. I'll talk to you soon, man. DM me. Hey, Wim, what's up, man? PCR test is just way too expensive. I hope they cancel the PCR test soon. Yeah, it's not cheap, right, Wim? Are you still planning on December? Is that right? I think by then, man, it might be no PCR test. Lauka, oh God, no, no. Jib hates Lauka. We've tried it together before. It's definitely not great. Right? Andy knows what's up. It's not something. It's a very acquired taste. It's not something you repeat. And then there's the version of Lao Khao with like the herbs in it. They call yodong, and it's got like herbs. That's the one like you'll find the snake in and stuff. Even worse. Townsend, you'll learn how to make alcohol in 1700. Yeah, I've made mead before, which is apparently like a 1500s, 1600s way to ferment honey. Honey mead. It's not bad. It's just not great. Just go back and watch all the Idea Studio. Great time spent. Yeah, man. No, I 100% agree. I think Denton's right, man. The rat race kills you. We paid $20 for a PCR test here. How much is it? I think they're way more expensive here. I think they're like 2,000 baht, like $60. Mix it with durian. Oh. Durian alcohol. I saw a video, I think from New Zealand, where a guy made brandy from durian, and it was horrible. Grain-based alcohol doesn't agree with the indigenous peoples. Pulak is agave-based drink. Most cultures figured out anything with sugars that ferment will get you drunk. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, agave is not bad. I know there was a you might know this one, Stuck, but it's like a tribe in South America. I don't know what country they're in now, but they have a drink made from fermented yucca, it's like a root vegetable which they chew, and then they spit it into a bowl, and it ferments. But it's not super high alcohol. And they actually drink it kind of like almost like a drinking yogurt, like a Yakult here. So it's not super strong, but it is fermented, and it gives it like a funky flavor. We know why his Facebooks went down this week. He does it. Please reveal the actual facts that you moved to escape U.S. activist. So I was talking with Chris, BMP Chris, about this because he messaged me. He's like, it sounds like a funny story. But DNS, so they said it was a DNS issue, which makes a lot of sense. Because once you enter a wrong DNS, that wrong DNS is going to populate across their entire CDN, their content delivery network, globally. And then it's going to take, by the time you notice the outage and you move to fix it, it will have already populated worldwide, and that route will have been advertised, or that DNS will have been advertised. So now you have to go back and fix it and then wait for it to repopulate, assuming they weren't making massive changes that they maybe didn't know where the DNS issue was right away. It took a while to track. I've bricked routers on the back end of the internet before, and luckily they fail over. But they cause momentary outages like 60% of the U.S. or 60% of the East Coast. Oh, 15 minutes would be good. Chilled durian-infused vodka. Oh, no. It doesn't sound good. You like it really, Token? In the vodka? I would think so. Well, I mean, so I'm at the point where I don't mind to eat durian anymore. I don't even mind the smell. And I could see where the sweetness of the durian could be good as an infused flavor, but it would have to be kind of combined with something else to get the funk out of it. In my opinion, like, that's what I think. I've never tried it. Does the funk come through, or just the sweetness? What do you get from the infusion? Oh, I'm trying to. They said the PCR is $100 in Thailand. Has it changed? It might be I thought it was $2,000. It could be $3,000. I'll ask my buddy Chris. He just had one. Sugar. What else do I need? Sugar and yeast, Joe. That's it. Sugar and yeast. Masado is Peruvian drink from chewed yucca. Oh, see, you do know, Stuck. I knew you would know this. Yeah, Peruvian. Okay. Yeah, chewed yucca. It's fermented, like with something in their mouth causes the fermentation. I love Peru. Wine, durian wine. I have mangosteen wine. It's a dessert wine. It's quite nice, but it's very, very sweet, very, very heavy on the palate. Sounds delish, Stuck. Andy stuff. Once it's fermented, it doesn't matter. That's true, right? Once it's fermented, I think it must only get to like 4 or 5% though, right, Stuck? Like maybe not even that high. I like pisco, which I think is Peruvian. Yeah, okay. Both. Woohoo. When are we going to do a cooking show? Oh, yeah, and I don't know if we're going to be able to cook. We'll definitely be going out. Actually, we were planning to go to the market last Friday, and it just poured out. So we didn't end up doing a live stream from the market. I think we might try again this Friday or Thursday maybe. We'll see how the weather looks. But yeah, we want to go. There's another market that we want to do a live stream from up not far from here. It's a little bit more modern, so there's a mix of like street food and restaurants, and it's an interesting spot. Gets pretty busy. But the morning market, I like the morning market the most, but only so many times I can live stream that, right? You guys will get tired of it. Me eating potato donuts the first thing in the morning. All right, guys, I've been going for about 3 hours, 40 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get some editing done so I can get episode 3 of the BTS series, as well as the craft shop video. And I'm going to lay the timeline out for the mangrove restoration video. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Like I said, 2 more episodes already filmed of the BTS. We'll be filming 5 pretty soon. And don't forget, if you guys have checked out episode 2, we built a map on Google Maps with the My Map tool, which is super easy to use. It's kind of fun. Where we laid out the whole area, we did the route, so you can see all the stops that we did, and we put pictures. But I think what we're going to do is, so starting with episode 5, we'll try to record little videos at all the locations that we go to, so that we can put those in the map, and it's like a different media experience from the video itself. So they'll be completely separate videos, probably like shot on the phone or shot on the GoPro, just something that we can include there on the map, and you can see that as like a little sort of behind the scenes or extra thing that we're doing at each location, and add a little bit more depth to the experience of the video with each station. I hope that will be something fun for you guys. So with that, guys, thank you so much. And until next time, keep taking action and make your ideas reality.